cardiovascular care team you know and love at CIS. Learn more at cardio.com.
Hi, my name is Pastor Troy James. I live in Terrebonne Parish and I am fully vaccinated. How about you? I had a lot of underlying conditions. And for my family and my friends, I did not want to go around them being unvaccinated, so I made it a precedent to be the leader in my family to get vaccinated.
Benefiting Louisiana hurricane victims, CMR Roofing presents Lee Brice, Randy Hauser, Let me show you how, and Colt Ford in concert at the Cajun Dome in Lafayette, Sunday, November 7th. Tickets now at RagingCC.com. Don't miss the Raging Country Crawl with Lee Brice, Randy Hauser, and Colt Ford, presented by CMR Roofing, benefiting Louisiana hurricane victims.
This is Martin False live in Houma. We're in front of Hebert's Motel, where water is up to the doorknobs at the motel. Telephone poles almost completely to the ground. This storm had some fury to it. The following morning, Hurricane Andrew had taken its toll on Terrebonne Parish. But the stick doesn't lie. No. That, you know, they said it started moving north-northwest. That was a jog. It's a very tense day for Terrebonne Parish. Levee after levee has been breached. You won't know until it equalizes how many of them have actually broken. And I'm just looking at that stick shot again. That's in a circulation and moved back on the stick, and Lafourche and Grand Isle to me are ground zero at this point. We'll see you again tomorrow night right here, same place, same time on Bayou Time. So Quincy, down here in Bayou DeLarge, we're looking at it. It looks like y'all were off of that western eye wall, but nonetheless, I saw your place. The roof caved in, and how much damage did you have?
Oh, it was a total loss. In other words, I only lost about half my roof, but everything inside just like dumped out. Just it's hard to explain, but it just like if you'd dump them out. Right. All the sheetrock, the stack of wood, and everything's right there. Mm-hmm. But we wasn't expecting that. We was expecting to go to my daughter's house, spend the storm, and the next day be back home.
Now you said she lives further in Houma, right?
Yeah, just right there at Houma. Yeah. Not far from the mall.
What made you leave when you saw this thing coming in? I'm sure it raised your eyebrows a little bit.
It did. But mainly it was the wife made me leave.
The wife always wins,
yeah,
right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no
she
doubt.
said it's time to go.
How's this affected your seafood business?
Well, I've been a shrimper all my life, but I always tried to better myself. And that building, I had it so close to getting it operational, and then this storm come, and what it is now, 6 weeks about? I ain't did a lick of work nowhere. I had to turn around and start tackling my house. Thank God for the people from the church. They stopped and helped me because I was dumbfounded. I didn't know which piece to pick up.
Is that St. Elwha?
No, sir. The Dularge Baptist Church right there.
Good. Dularge Baptist. Give them a shout out.
Oh, thank God for them people. Yeah. I wasn't expecting. I was in the house just looking at the mess. And they had like 3 carloads of people just pull up, and we got started.
Right. And so all your sheetrock caved in, everything on the inside?
Yes, sir. It was like almost like flushing a toilet in the house. Yeah. It was just.
And so you living in the building that you were trying to finish?
No, I'm actually living in a little cargo building that we used to peel shrimp in, because we out of operation. So.
Right. All right. This is where Quincy is sleeping. This seems pretty strong, but what is this normally, a cooler?
Yeah, no, we normally process seafood in here.
All right.
That's our peeling table.
Okay.
Our rinsing water and all of that.
Right.
Mop zinc and all of that. It's all Board of Health approved.
Okay, yeah.
We do all hand peeled stuff.
Right. And there's your bed right now, huh?
Yeah,
it's pretty cool in here.
Well, I got an air conditioner.
Yeah, but it stays cool. This is well insulated.
This is well insulated. This right here ain't going nowhere. This
Right.
is solid.
So-
I tried lifting it up with my forklift. My forklift can't even help me chock it or nothing.
Right. I bet you sleep well in here.
It's better with the family, but I do sleep well.
Yeah. When it's cooler, it's easier to go to sleep.
Yes, sir.
But I don't know, with 8 cups of coffee, you might stay up all night.
No, not me. I'm in the bed for about 9:30, 10
All right.
o'clock.
All right, so this is where Quincy's living here in Dularge. So as you can tell, everything's on hold, but he's ready to get back at it. You've lost your house and you've lost your business for right now.
Oh, I don't want to start thinking that far, because it's,
It'll dumbfound you sometimes. Let me ask you this, but have you been through anything this bad, or was this the worst storm you've ever been through?
oh, this is the worst I ever been through. Now I understand when I was a kid growing up, why the grown-ups, the first thing they did when the storm coming, they'll go put the stoppers in the bathtubs and start filling up the bathtubs with water.
Right.
You don't think about that if you don't go through it. But you can't even flush your toilet without water. We lost water and all down here. Water, electric, I mean, it was just houses. We lost everything.
Yeah, y'all had a main break. I think it was up by St. Elway, and of course Mike Sobe and them worked diligently to get it done, but nonetheless, it still takes time, doesn't it?
It took a while. Yeah. Thank God I filled up my balling pots, because I was getting ready to start balling and drying shrimp right here.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, if we get water, my balling pots would have wanted to float. That'll break a gas line. That'd be dangerous. Right. Let me fill that up with water before I leave. It's the only reason we have water. To take a shower, if you see in them champagnes, I filled up 2-liter bottles. We'll poke holes in the top of the bottles and use that for the shower.
Yeah.
Out that tank.
Cajun ingenuity.
Hey, it worked.
Now, Quincy, I got to tell you, I know you work hard, but that's the biggest cup of coffee I think I have ever seen in my life. What is that, about a gallon mug?
It ain't but 4 cups. But it takes that. It takes that.
Yeah, and how many cups do you drink like that a day?
Two. That's it.
So you drink 8 cups of coffee a day, right?
To get me started, and then I'm good.
You look like you're keeping your wit about you, though, so this has a tendency to knock people down, but you seem like a realist.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, the good Lord ain't going to give you more than you can handle. And if you can't handle it, he can, so it's in his hands.
Yeah.
I mean, what else?
And but I know you're going to be back in business soon, so I guess you're looking forward to that, right?
I am, but we just can't rush it. I work a lot by myself.
Right.
And it's going to come together.
All right. Hey, I appreciate your fortitude through all this, and it looks good. And keep drinking that coffee, and keep supplying the engine with the fuel, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you,
All right,
Quincy.
Mr. Martin.
Appreciate
See y'all.
it.
All right.
Good seeing you. Once again, Quincy Verrett down here in Dularge. And to be honest with you, a cup of coffee, that's jet fuel right there. It's a little less damage on this bayou. Now, some people still got hit pretty good, like Quincy has substantial damage, but you don't see every trailer smashed in and every camp or every home damaged on this bayou like you did as we move further east. But nonetheless, still got substantial damage, and everybody trying to put the pieces together. So we're going to head to some other locations right here on Bayou Time. We'll be right back.
Broussard Dove handles business and residential hurricane claims. We have over 14 years experience dealing with insurance claims for hurricanes with proven results. We handled hurricane claims before Hurricane Ida and will be here for years to come after. We've recovered millions for business owners and homeowners. So if you need help with your hurricane claim, let us fight for you. Go to our website and fill out a form for a free claim review or give us a call. Broussard Dove, attorneys at law.
Looking for complete peace of mind when buying your next pre-owned vehicle? Trep's got it. Why buy a Trep Chevrolet GM certified pre-owned vehicle? You could save thousands of dollars compared to a new vehicle. Most certified pre-owned vehicles offer a limited bumper-to-bumper coverage and limited powertrain coverage on top of new vehicle warranty. These vehicles have undergone rigorous inspection and come with a vehicle history report and maintenance history. So if you want true confidence, Trep's got it at Trep Chevrolet in Houma.
Bacteria and germs run rampant in the air that surrounds us. It's more important than ever to keep our surroundings clean. Introducing BioPure. Specializing in commercial and residential disinfection applications, BioPure's advanced treatment process allows them to disinfect more surfaces quickly and effectively, with no inconvenience to staff or family members. Let BioPure help you create a better environment for everyone. Call for your free consultation today at 985-322-3003.
Here at South Louisiana Bank, we support our neighbors, the organizers, the helpers, the leaders, the dreamers. We support those that move our community forward. Louisiana has grown from the dedication, commitment, and loyalty of the people who call this beautiful place home. We are proud to offer our services to the communities in South Louisiana. South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together.
All right, we're with Captain Mayor Peter Guidry here. That mayor goes a long way too here at the motor pool. Captain's in charge of the motor pool. Now he's in charge of the campsite. But what a job y'all have done with all these camps, and well, y'all got it up pretty quick, didn't you?
Definitely. That was a main priority for the sheriff. Whenever 32 of his employees end up losing their homes or severely destroyed, he had it in his heart. He said, you know what, I'm not losing my people to anywhere else, so I'm going to make something happen. And he came up with the idea, of course, you know, he's a Marine, so he said, overcome and adapt. And he came with this idea of putting this camp together, and the amount he got it done in so quickly, it was amazing. And he was passionate about it, and he didn't take no for an answer, and he went about it himself and got it done.
And I see y'all had to run water lines, electrical everywhere, and it's pretty well laid out, but I guess you never know what the parking lot's going to be used for, right? Correct.
Yeah, during the storm, we originally made this as a shell parking lot for resources coming in, because it was people from all over the state and the country came here to help us bring in resources. We had to have a parking spot. So whenever that ended up kind of slowing down, the sheriff said, hey, look, perfect spot. It's already my property, and everything's temporary, so that falls with the FEMA regulation. So he said, let's make it happen, and he did.
How many motorhomes do we have in here?
We have 29 he brought in.
29.
Yeah.
Wow. And tell me what it was like. I know you're in charge of the motor pool, and that's why they give you the nickname Mayor, but how was it having this thrown in the mix?
So, you know, with storms, especially in Louisiana, South Louisiana, you never know what happens with a storm. And Ida came and smacked us around. He said, hey, guess what? Sheriff said, hey, I got a new task for you. I'm like, what is that? He goes, you're going to run this town. I'm like, run the town. And, you know, we take it one lick at a time, and we stood up and took the challenge and made it happen.
Now, I saw a little damage on your motor pool, too, so y'all trying to deal with that at the same time?
Yeah, definitely. So this is our main headquarters, because obviously downtown had some water damage, so our motor pool took about a third of the roof, flew off of it. So we kind of made central operations here. It was tough, and especially with the rains we had after the storm happened, we got rained on a little bit. But we made it happen. We got a temp roof up, and now we're moving into the next phase of getting it fixed permanently and then keeping the town running.
So the deputies are staying here. I mean, their whole families are in there?
Yes, deputies are here, and the sheriff's philosophy is if where your family's at, you're going to stay, and his main thing is keeping kids back to normalcy, and that's what he's done.
And I bet y'all see a few kids out here every now and then playing around.
Oh, definitely, and that's what makes the sheriff actually smile, seeing the kids play. Don't know other deputies' families, but kids always gel together, and he's happy, they're happy.
Yeah. Now, what's the inside look like? Describe the inside of them for me.
So it's pretty much it's a small house is what it is. They have a kitchen, a stove, refrigerator. They got bunk beds for kids, like a queen bed, and then a sofa kind of living area and a TV. And it's pretty much it's a new home. We always say welcome home. When they come here, it's a temporary home until you get yours back up and running.
But Captain, I got to be honest, you seem like the perfect personality to adapt to doing what you normally do. The sheriff gives you another task. He does it, but you seem pretty chipper, like you just took the ball and ran with it.
Definitely, and that's what everybody, especially during a storm, everybody, you could see the kind of this dismay in their face, or just kind of there was no hope. And I would wear goofy hats some days, just wear different shirts, just to kind of get the morale up a little bit. And the sheriff, being what he is, he was here every day giving little words of advice, and I would just kind of be behind him making people smile and laugh. And that's what I adopted the name of Mayor, and it kind of makes people chuckle.
And his philosophy in speaking with him is that I think they were sending deputies as far as Baton Rouge. But if you send in a deputy to Baton Rouge from other areas, chances are they may just set up shop there and want to work there. So if you set up their home where their home really is, they're staying here.
Correct. And that was his big thing. We had 10% of our department that lost homes. And that's, for Terrebonne Parish, that's a big hit to our department. And he said, you know what, just what you said, if somebody moves somewhere else to take up temporary housing in Baton Rouge, they're going to get accustomed there. The family's going to find jobs, and then guess what you lose? You lose another trained officer that can't patrol the streets, and that wasn't acceptable to him.
So when the families come and the deputies, they live here, now they're able to focus back on their job, because before, obviously, if you're on patrol and your home is missing a roof, or if it doesn't exist anymore, and you have a family staying out of town with somebody else, to be quite blunt, and that's reality, your mind's not totally going to be in the job.
Correct, and that was a stress that deputies had here, and that was one stress he said he can bear that burden. He said, I'm going to take care of that, take this challenge, and I'm going to make sure my guys don't have to worry about where their families are at, where their families are sleeping, give them someplace they can call a temporary home, and then they keep working. And we haven't skipped a beat since day one after the storm. We've been running 100%, and with the sheriff's help like this, we continue to run 100%.
Well, Captain, Mayor, we appreciate you joining us, and keep on smiling and passing that goodwill to people, because it suits you well and you're doing a great job.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right, there we go. The Mayor, the Captain, over here, Peter Guidry, and we're waiting on the sheriff. He's going to give us a little more of an update also on the philosophy and how he was able to get this done, because let's face it, a lot of people are trying to get this done, but they can't. He maneuvered and he did some different things, and we're going to talk with him how he was able to make this happen. It'll be right around the break. Don't go away.
Beginning this season, Friday night sports game highlights will still be aired, but without commentary on Friday night. HTV will choose 3 games per week, and those highlights will be featured on our Sports in the Bayou program that will air on Tuesday and Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Join Bobby Hebert, Mike Detillier, Rich Marty, Stan Gravois, Harry McCullough, Dr. Pat Hagan, and Martin False as they bring you all of the Saints, LSU, Nicholls State, and high school highlights on a weekly basis.
It's fall savings time at Barker Mitsubishi. Drive home a new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander for just $239 a month. That's a new 2022 Outlander for just $239 a month at Barker Mitsubishi in Houma, or shop online at barkermitsubishi.com.
If you are suffering from chronic cough, bronchitis, reactive airway, or persistent asthma that's difficult to control, or diagnosed with COPD, please listen carefully. You may be suffering from allergy sinus, bronchial asthma syndrome. For as we now know that undetected or uncontrolled infection in the upper airway can affect the lower respiratory tract. If this is happening to you, please call us for an evaluation.
Domestic violence is daunting, and the psychological effects can do enduring damage. Obviously, all abuse needs to end. But how? The Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office is dedicated to ending domestic violence and helping those who have already experienced it. Our office supports many programs that educate and adjudicate abuse towards women. If you are a victim of abuse, call the Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office at 873-6500.
Think premium can't be capable? Think again. Introducing the first ever AT4 lineup. Premium and capable. That's professional grade from GMC.
Get $2,000 purchase cash on 2021 Sierra Light Duty Crew Cab models. Plus, current eligible GMC owners get an additional $250 purchase allowance.
See your local GMC dealer.
West Park Climate Controlled Self-Storage is a state-of-the-art storage facility with clean, convenient, and secured climate-controlled storage. Open 7 days a week with professional storage counselors to assist with all of your storage needs.
I'm Tammy. Come see us at West Park Storage for all your packing and storage needs.
Hi, I'm Kelly. We also have parking for RVs, boats, and cars with 24-hour access.
Hi, I'm Tricia, the manager of West Park Storage, and we would like to thank you for 16 years of great service, and we hope to provide many, many more.
HTV would like to inform all of you that Friday night sports game highlights will no longer air on Friday nights. HTV will choose 3 games per week, and those highlights will be featured on our Sports in the Bayou program that will air Tuesday and Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Join Bobby Hebert, Mike Detillier, Rich Marty, Stan Gravois, Harry McCullough, Dr. Pat Hagan, and Martin False as they bring you all of the Saints, LSU, Nickel State, and high school highlights on a weekly basis.
It's fall savings time at Barker Mitsubishi. Drive home a new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander for just $239 a month. That's a new 2022 Outlander for just $239 a month at Barker Mitsubishi in Houma, or shop online at barkermitsubishi.com.
Of course, no introduction, but we'll do it anyway. The Sheriff of Terrebonne Parish, Tim Saunier, and I've interviewed you about a lot of things so far, but a camper city, and I was telling the captain, the mayor, like you call him, that's hard to put together because there's a lot of bureaucracy to get this done. You were able to do it. How were you able to pull that off?
Well, Congressman Garrett Graves, he had wrote a bill in 2016-15 when they had the flood in Livingston Parish. That bill allowed the sheriff there to do very similar circumstances because he had a lot of his officers displaced. So when I realized we had 32 of our officers that were displaced, I talked to the sheriff there, and I talked to Garrett Graves, the congressman, and there was basically a consultant. I was able to seek some consultants that assisted with that situation, and we were able to bring it to life here. And I was able to navigate, and we were able to get them in purchase through my office with some emergency funds that I had, and I will get my 100% reimbursement from FEMA. Mm-hmm. So we have to work through the back channels to get our money, like everybody else is trying to do up front to get campers. The state had to do something similar with FEMA to get the campers, which you see coming. Mm-hmm. But I was able to kind of speed the process up because I was able to make the purchase myself.
And I would assume after it's all said and done and the deputies relocate, which you'd probably have an auction or something, you'd probably have to give the money back to FEMA.
That's exactly correct. It's 100% reimbursement, so I'm getting 100% reimbursement on this, this project, which took care of my officers. And there's several reasons why, but so I'll get my money. Once that happens, then we have to put these up for auction, and that money will be returned to FEMA, but my cost is covered 100%.
Now, I saw the concern on your face. Obviously, it was very heartfelt when you were on the desk with me. And your main concern was that the deputies had no place more for their families, because if a deputy's out on patrol and doesn't really know where his family's going to end up, he can't do his job right. It's weighing on his mind. So I know this was paramount to you.
It was very important to me. You know, with 32, you know, I have about 305 employees, and so 10% of my department is now displaced. I can say this, they didn't miss work. Right. They continued to work through the storm, considering it's like, what am I going to do, where I'm going to put my family, where am I going to stay? This was able to take a lot of burden off of our officers for us to be able to do this. You have some other first responders in the parish, firefighters and all, and the closest place they were able to find to live was like Baton Rouge and then Lafayette. And to me, that's a long way. And then what we've seen in the past, and I've talked to other agencies that suffered devastation, and they end up losing a lot of their manpower because when they move away, they don't come back. Mm-hmm. I want our people to come back.
Right. You've been down every bayou. We filmed down every bayou. You could obviously see the footprint of this storm east to west. It gets a little less damage as you move to the western part of Terrebonne Parish, but half of Lafourche and half of Terrebonne Parish just got mangled by these eye walls, and you saw a lot, didn't you?
Oh, it's devastating for our parish, and what was important that I can keep my people working so we can continue to help the people down those bayous. And I mean, even today we're cooking a meal in Gray for some of the areas, even in some of the northern end of the parish. Yeah. That was so we're not forgetting anybody in the parish, and we just want to continue supporting the rebuild. We want to continue to support our community, and to me it's important I keep our people here so we can continue to do that.
You know, we've seen many storms. You in a different role for some of the other storms. Then you became sheriff, and you won the news desk with me, I think 7 times last year for storms. But that was just practice for what rolled over us with Ida. But now you really have a clear understanding of what these storms are like. And I would venture to say, next time you come on the news desk and tell people you got to leave the parish, they're probably going to take you a little more serious.
Well, I would hope so. Look, nobody ever wants to leave their home, and I understand it, I get it. And there's several reasons. One, that's their property. They work hard for their homes. They work hard for their families, and nobody wants to leave. And I mean, I think we set a very, very clear message when it came to looting on their property. We're going to handle that, and I'll continue to handle that anytime we ever deal with something like this. We're going to deal with that with iron fist. I'm not going to tolerate a looter in this parish, especially for the good people that is working hard. But at the same time, I have to keep my people working hard to protect it. And it's important I keep that momentum and keep our people working. And when they suffer devastation themselves, they got to still keep working. So it's important we're able to take care of them, do what we have to do to continue that momentum in protecting people's property. And I hope they'll build a little confidence if we ever come to something like this again and they needed to evacuate, they're going to do it with a little more confidence and knowing that we're back here to protect them.
Sheriff, I want to thank you on behalf of the parish. You've really rallied as a unit, along with all law enforcement, but to see that trailer city behind you just shows me where your heart is, and I know those deputies appreciate it.
Look, I couldn't be more proud of the work that they do every day. And even today in the tempo we're keeping up and what we're doing, and they're working, and they're tirelessly working, and I can't be more proud of what these guys are doing to help our community.
There you have it, the Sheriff of Terrebonne Parish, Tim Saunier. Something we don't see a whole lot. We don't see the sheriff having to build a city, 29 campers out here to take care of his deputies, but Ida taught us a lot of things we didn't know before. We have a lot more on the cleanup after Ida. We'll be right back.
Honda, we're overflowing with used cars.
We have over 100 used cars, trucks, and SUVs priced to sell.
Many units under $8,000. Save thousands on light and used certified vehicles.
At Barker Honda, every unit goes through a 120-point inspection.
So you can buy with confidence.
Come see us today here at Barker Honda Used Cars.
'cause you know it's better at Barker.
Our dear South Louisiana community is recovering from one of the worst storms our area has ever seen. At Cardiovascular Institute of the South, our hearts are with you and we stand with you as we have for nearly 40 years. Times like these are a true testament to the unity and humanity of our vibrant community. We are resilient, we will rebuild, and we'll get through this. We have a bright future ahead and we're moving forward. Together, we will emerge stronger than ever.
Was your business interrupted by Hurricane Ida? You may be entitled to compensation. Insurance companies may try to pay you much less than your losses, or even deny your claim altogether. St. Martin and Bork and Hoffa's Duval are partnering together to fight for your fair payout. Go to myidaclaim.com for your free case review today. Never give up because your insurance company has denied your claim, and never accept a lowball offer. Let St. Martin and Bork and Hoffa's Duval help you weather the storm. Visit myidaclaim.com today.
Instead of using prescription opioids to treat pain, it's time to consider other options. There are effective treatments available like acupuncture, nerve block therapy, and electrical nerve stimulation that can reduce your pain, get you back on your feet, and not put you at risk of becoming addicted. For more information or to get help with an addiction, visit opioidhelpla.org.
Make each day feel less every day in a Mazda CUV. Elevate every moment with available iActive all-wheel drive. Create a closer connection with the road and make your journey a little more extraordinary.
And now drive home a new 2021 Mazda CX-5 or Mazda CX-9 and get 0.9% APR for 36 months at Barker Mazda in Homa or shop on.
Good evening and welcome to our show, Going Public. I'm Renee Fonseca, and joining us tonight is Mr. Philip Martin, the Terrebonne Parish School District Superintendent. Mr. Martin, thank you for taking time out of your night to join us.
Thank you, Renee. Good to be here.
I know with schools recently opening after Hurricane Ida, can you give us an update on the process or the phase that the current state that we're in?
Yeah, actually, we're just winding down what we would consider the first phase, which is the emergency response phase. That basically could be summarized putting a bunch of Band-Aids on schools and getting them where they can be opened in a safe manner. We have all students, with the exception of one school, are in school, not necessarily their school, but in a school, which we felt was very, very crucial to interest of our kids and our community to get schools back going again. The process has been a very lengthy one because no two schools were the same in the type damage they incurred. Some received relatively minor, and some received catastrophic, and everything in between. When you have 30-something campuses and several buildings sometimes on each campus, it provides for a lot of opportunity for damage, which we did. The repairs we've done thus far are strictly temporary, and the arrangements we've made to share and pair schools are strictly temporary. I want to emphasize that this is a temporary, to have a school what kids could go to every day. It's certainly not permanent. There's a long path to full recovery. I don't want to be misleading on that There's a lot of permanent repairs that have to be done at many schools before we can consider ourselves finally back to what we would consider normal. But the first phase is winding down in terms of the emergency response. We're not finished, but we can see light at the end of the tunnel in terms of having our schools with, like I said, with Band-Aids and temporary shrink-wrapped roofs. I didn't know you could shrink-wrap a roof, but you can. We've done that at many, many schools. And there are a lot of people, school people, contracted people, involved in that process. And in times of a disaster that our community is dealing with, it does provide the opportunity to see the best of many people that sometimes perhaps you had not observed or noticed before. I know I have seen that. And in these difficult times, those good traits in people sometimes become more obvious, and people not looking for anything except to help. And we've had numerous organizations and people helping and continuing to help. We certainly appreciate that.
So what would be our next phase? I know if we're in phase 1 now, what does phase 2 consist of?
The next phase is getting official professional assessments in terms of damage. And I guess the first phase, not say the first phase, the first part of that phase is any building considered a replace rather than a repair? We don't have some answers on that yet, because that's a fairly in-depth and comprehensive assessment before that decision can be made. But the next phase is going into where we have to go through more traditional procurement methods, setting specs, setting what you want repaired, soliciting bids or RFPs for the repairs. It will be at a slower pace than the hectic first month of the first phase. It was a 24-hour day, 7-day-a-week, 100-mile-an-hour pace to get schools fixed where kids could go to school. So that next phase will be the assessment, formulating the specifications for repair, and I'll use South Terrebonne. You just can't put out a spec and say go put a new roof. It's obviously much more detailed and specific, and that's where the engineers and architects and people have to come into play, and all the stuff that was on the roof, the AC equipment and all that. It's the infrastructure of the school is all impacted. So it's a very, very detailed and requires professionals, quite honestly, to make those type of assessments. And then once you have the assessments, make decisions on hopefully to repair. And then it's brick by brick after that, project by project. Now, hopefully we'll have several projects going on at the same time. But the next phase is where we're going to be releasing assessments, bids, soliciting RFPs for services. And then the final and last phase is when we actually go out for bid, when we're saying, okay, this is what we want, and contractors will say, yeah, and this is how much we'll charge you to do it. I've given a very simplified version of those three phases, but that's basically what it is. We have one school. All schools are open now except for one, Montague Middle, and we hope to open it up very, very shortly. And SEC is not yet open. But we want to make sure both schools are ready before we do, so we're not jumping the gun and we didn't on any of the schools, and we'll do the same with these.
Now, do we have a time frame for phase 2 or phase 3?
That's an excellent question, and to give you a short answer, no. The process that a team of architects, engineers, that would be both mechanical, structural, electrical, to make assessments at schools and determinations of what needs to be done is going to be a lengthy one. A long time is not a good answer, not a very specific, but it will be a long time. Now, we're not talking years, but we're not talking weeks either. It will be months and months for that process to take place.
Now, some of the schools that are heavily damaged, such that you mentioned South Terrebonne and Ellender, I know parents are speculating, are we going to rebuild, we're going to repair, what's going to take place? Do you have any of those answers yet, or I know you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, no, actually we do not, and actually we could probably throw in a couple other schools in that question mark And you know, sometimes someone looks at it and says, oh, that can be fixed, and someone else looks at it like, no, it can't be fixed. But we will leave that up to professionals to make that final call and recommend to us should we. And quite honestly, you know, my opinion on that is just that. It doesn't carry any weight. We will rely on exactly what the assessment teams and professionals tell us what's in the best interest of the school district. Either way is going to be lengthy. You know, the building a school, that's a long time. And repairing a school such as ST, that's going to take a long time as well, because the damages were extensive. And ST and Eleanor and Upper Locaia and Grand Kai Elementary, they didn't all have the same level of damage, but they all had fairly catastrophic damage.
And then right now, I know some schools are sharing or platooning. Is that the plan moving forward until we can get back into those schools? You know, that is the temporary plan. I want to emphasize it's temporary. It's not ever intended to be permanent. And there are some other options before us. And quite honestly, the determination of that will be, if we use the school for an example, just pick a school and said, if it's repair it, timeline, and the experts can give us a timeline. If that timeline is reasonable, we may leave it just like it is till it's repaired. If the timeline is much longer, we will be looking into temporary, modular type, FEMA type, portable school type, that may not be the right word, to, if it looks like it's going to be a very long time, to relocate to where they're on their own campus, so to speak, makeshift campus. So those are questions I don't really have the specific answers to, but in summary of that, if it looks like it's going to be an extended period, we're going to begin exploring the possibility of perhaps some other type of moving from very temporary to less temporary, but not permanent type buildings, till eventually we can get to permanent. And since schools have started, have you heard any feedback from the principals or students that are sharing? How are they working out so far? You know, that has actually been very inspirational. My supervisors, I asked one right after the first day she visited the school, and I said, well, how was it? And she said, I wanted to cry. I'm like, oh my God, it was that bad? She says, no, it was that heartwarming. The camaraderie, the welcoming, the feeling of warmth from both schools toward each other, you know, the whole school welcoming the, quote, visitors. And, you know, I know Bourgeois had some green and white banners down the hall, and Go Gators, and just, you know, and that was replicated at Terrebonne High and also the elementary schools. I visited several of the schools, and it's very obvious that I actually think the kids are enjoying some of the interactions with kids from different communities, and but that has been a very pleasurable experience. And I did have some concerns with that. Is that, you know, it's like, you know, Benjamin Franklin said, "Fish and company stink after 3 days." I'm hoping, is that going to happen here? It didn't. You know, there's been some very warm relationships and welcoming, and that continues to this day. And that just speaks of our kids and our community and our teachers, because we are a warm and welcoming community. That's our nature, to welcome people, and that's exactly what took place. Well, thank you, Mr. Martin. We have to take a short break, but please continue to join us after the break.
Barker Honda, we're overflowing with used cars.
We have over 100 used cars, trucks, and SUVs priced to sell.
Many units under $8,000. Save thousands on light and used certified vehicles.
At Barker Honda, every unit goes through a 120-point inspection.
So you can buy with confidence.
Come see us today here at Barker Honda Used Cars.
Because you know it's better at Barker.
I think it's a great day to teach outside now. The sunny sky's calling my name. Just can't stay in the classroom all day. I gotta kind of day.
Our dear South Louisiana community is recovering from one of the worst storms our area has ever seen. At Cardiovascular Institute of the South, our hearts are with you and we stand with you as we have for nearly 40 years. Times like these are a true testament to the unity and humanity of our vibrant community. We are resilient, we will rebuild, and we'll get through this. We have a bright future ahead and we're moving forward. Together, we will emerge stronger than ever.
Looking for complete peace of mind when buying your next pre-owned vehicle? Trep's got it. Why buy a Trep Chevrolet GM certified pre-owned vehicle? You could save thousands of dollars compared to a new vehicle. Most certified pre-owned vehicles offer a limited bumper-to-bumper coverage and limited powertrain coverage on top of new vehicle warranty. These vehicles have undergone rigorous inspection and come with a vehicle history report and maintenance history. So if you want true confidence, Trep's got it at Trep Chevrolet in Houma.
Welcome back to Going Public. If you are just joining us, I'm Renee Fonseca, and joining us tonight is Mr. Philip Martin, the Terrebonne Parish School District Superintendent. I want to thank you again, Mr. Martin, for being on the show. I know before break we were going through some updates on Hurricane Ida and the schools. What can you tell us about the calendar? How will the calendar be affected this year? I know it hasn't been officially released yet, but are there any details that you would like to go over?
Sure, it hasn't been officially released yet, but it's fairly obvious that days that were previously designated as holidays, some of them will have to become school days. Fall break was the most ones right around the corner. It's very safe to assume that we will not be able to do a full weekend Thanksgiving. Every holiday period will have to have a few days shortened. We haven't decided which ones and how much, but we have to make up the time. And so a combination of holidays, extended time in the summer. We did that last year. We didn't finish, I think, to June 10th last year. So we may be going that long. I don't know how long it will take, but we'll have to make up the days. And what makes this one a little more difficult, and another thing will be minutes added. That will be the to make up for the variable, because not every school missed the same number of days. Like Montague Middle, for example, as I mentioned earlier, they have more time to make up than the others, and there's some that started the first round of opening, and so we will try to make, there's one calendar for school days that's the same for every school, from Acadian to the last school in the alphabet, which would probably be Village East. I was trying to think of my alphabet, trying to go down the list of names. A calendar that school days would be the same. The daily calendar may fluctuate from school to school because we will try to accommodate by adding some minutes, vary from school to school to accommodate so we reach that minimum number of instructional minutes that each district's required to do. So it will be a quilt work, patchwork of holidays, summer, and minutes. And we'll try to do the days the same for every school and make adjustments individually by minutes, number of minutes and number of days. You do added minutes to account for the individual differences from school to school. And we've done that before. It's not the first time.
Are we looking at that calendar still being released this week possibly?
Yes. Mr. Ojon, Assistant Superintendent, is putting some finishing touches on it, and we want to sit down and make sure that it's the best it can be. I mean, you missed so many days. We got to make up so many days. There's no good way to do that. We're just trying to figure out what's the best way.
Now, for a hurricane, does the state waive any of those minutes? Okay.
No.
So we still have to make up.
No. There's no waiver of minutes. There are certain circumstances for the shared and paired schools. My understanding is only then is there an instructional waiver, and we're not doing that with most of our schools, just some schools. But there's even some minimums that can be waived on that. So we're looking at fulfilling our obligation to the state for the number of instructional minutes.
Now, besides academics, how has athletics been affected?
Well, we tried to start up athletics ASAP as soon as we could after we started opening some schools, and our coaches wanted to do that. They thought it was good for our kids, and it was. I have to be very candid that, after a few days we got back, we were still kind of staggering with the amount of damage and the task in front of us. When someone asked about athletics, my first reaction was kind of be like, are you kidding me? But thinking on that for about 10 minutes, I'm like, we got to get back to normal. And this will give kids who are involved in those activities and kids who are not at least something to get their minds off perhaps some of the difficult situations that many of our children are dealing with. I'm hearing stories from staff about kids, little kids, and situations they're in. It brings tears to your eyes. We tend sometimes to look through the world through our own eyes and our situations, but when you look through it through other eyes and some other people's situation, it looks totally different.
Now, I know we talked about, high school getting started. What about our middle school sports?
Yeah, we're beginning that as well. We focused on high school because, let's face it, the kids' high school, this is their last shot. They're seniors this year or no year. So we focused on getting those going first. We're next going to begin, and, facilities is a problem in that, 2 high schools and 4 gyms and 2 football fields are no longer available. So making that shift, and you got soccer and volleyball and football all going on. Well, soccer is going to be starting. So making those facility arrangements and sharing has been somewhat of a logistical challenge. But our coaches have been very, very concerned about their kids and their players, and they recognize, perhaps before I did, the kids need to get back into doing things that they view as normal and things that are important to kids.
Absolutely. It is definitely good for the community as well. I've
Sure.
seen lots of parents, thanking you guys for allowing their students to play. So definitely a good thing. What about standardized testing? How are we looking towards the end of the year? Is that still as normal?
Yes, the standardized test will be done in Terrebonne Parish this spring, as it's been done every spring. And, I have staff that are already working on different scenarios, dates, and things for that to happen. For the last month, probably for the first time in my career, I put instruction and academics as second priority. It wasn't first. Like, first was let's get kids back in school. We'll worry about all that other stuff once we can get kids back in school. So we've got them back in school. Now we're beginning to focus on things that relate to school. And as I mentioned in the first segment, and my supervisors have relayed the same thing to me, and I've relayed it to the board, that when I go into a school, it looks like school, it feels like school, because it is school. It feels so warm and refreshing, and very, very, very good feeling to see kids in classroom and teachers teaching and students engaged in learning. For a little while there, you forget that we had a hurricane that just hit us because it appears and feels so normal.
And how are we in relation to COVID? Do we still have any quarantines? How are that? I know that's one more thing to add.
COVID, unfortunately, is still there. A dear friend of the school system, Mr. Jim Ernie, recently passed away. He was a very strong public ed supporter and worked very closely with the school board on many projects. So he's a reminder that COVID has not gone away. It's still there, and unfortunately still taking people's lives. So we can't ignore that or forget that. Recently, Dr. Bromley, the state superintendent, said that quarantining would be a parental choice, and we're complying with that. That we will notify parents if there's been a close contact, and if they choose to quarantine, they can, and if they choose not to, they can. There's some people that like that, some people don't like that, but we live in a state and in a country where we have to live by rules and regulations and laws, and when people who are in positions to make decisions and decrees, we need to honor and respect that. So that's what we plan to do. The mask mandate is still in effect. I know some people like mask ideas, some people don't, but the rule is we got to wear them, so we wear them. While we're in schools, except when we're outside, we give some break with that. So COVID is still there, and the COVID protocols are still there. The only minor exception is the quarantining. That has changed somewhat. But Hurricane Ida just sucked all the air out of the room, for everything. Sports, COVID, we kind of forgot about all that. But we have to remind ourselves those things, the good things like sports are still there, and the things that are not so good, like COVID, is still there.
So have we had any other challenges besides COVID going back, or any other restrictions such as transportation?
Well, transportation has been a very, very gigantic puzzle, and our supervisor does a very good job of managing the logistics of that. You talk about transportation to kids, Renee, am I on the right?
Yes, or just any kind of challenge. That was one I know that
transportation is a challenge in the best of times. But in this time, it is a particularly, because we have so many kids that I know there's going to be some temporary shelters that are being set up. Well, we're going to pick those kids up. And I was asked, would we send buses to those places, the places that are going to be designated as shelters? Absolutely, we will. We want the kids in school. But the transportation is a piece that few people truly comprehend the complexities in that every child on every street in Terrebonne Parish has to be picked up and brought back there. That's a fairly daunting logistical task in a short period of time. You don't have all day to do it. So that's something that we've struggled with. I shouldn't say struggled, that we have dealt with, but it is a challenge. And unfortunately, we have many people in our community who've not been able to come home. Many of them don't have a home to come home to. And that's the heartbreaking stories. And as a school district, we just reach out to those people. And some of them are worried about, will I get in trouble if my child is not in school? Absolutely not. Matter of fact, I told our child welfare and attendance department, I said, we have these computer-generated, your kid's absent so many, it sends one of these letters, your kids missed so many days, don't miss any more, and all this kind of stuff. I said, turn that machine off. People are dealing with enough without getting a letter that's going to concern them. So we're being as flexible, compassionate, and common sense as a district as we can, but because we know some parts of our community is relatively okay, and some parts are ICU. They're not okay, and we do realize that.
Well, it looks like our time is up. I want to thank you again for coming on our show. And I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to join us every Tuesday on Going Public. Good night.
Think premium can't be capable? Think again. Introducing the first ever AT4 lineup. Premium and capable. That's professional grade from GMC.
Get $2,000 purchase cash on 2021 Sierra Light Duty Crew Cab models. Plus, current eligible GMC owners get an additional $250 purchase allowance.
See your local GMC dealer.
Here at South Louisiana Bank, We support our neighbors, the organizers, the helpers, the leaders, the dreamers. We support those that move our community forward. Louisiana has grown from the dedication, commitment, and loyalty of the people who call this beautiful place home. We are proud to offer our services to the communities in South Louisiana. South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together.
Benefiting Louisiana hurricane victims, CMR Roofing presents Lee Bryce, Randy Hauser,
Let me show you how.
and Colt Ford in concert at the Cajun Dome in Lafayette, Sunday, November 7th. Tickets now at RaginCC.com. Don't miss the Ragin' Country Crawl with Lee Bryce, Randy Hauser, and Colt Ford, presented by CMR Roofing, benefiting Louisiana hurricane victims.
HTV would like to inform all of you that Friday night sports game highlights will no longer air on Friday nights. HTV will choose 3 games per week, and those highlights will be featured on our Sports in the Bayou program that will air Tuesday and Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Join Bobby Hebert, Mike Detillier, Rich Marty, Stan Gravois, Harry McCullough, Dr. Pat Hagan, and Martin Falls as they bring you all of the Saints, LSU, Nickel State, and high school highlights on a weekly basis.
Led by a 7-member commission, the Terrebonne Port was created to assist our local industry in promoting economic development. We monitor government regulations that affect our local industry and work with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to secure maintenance dredging funds. Because the HNC is the main artery for the heartbeat of Terrebonne's economy, Terrebonne Port fights a constant battle for funding to maintain the federally authorized navigable depth. We are now leasing waterfront and non-waterfront property. Terrebonne Port Commission, serving our industry to keep Terrebonne thriving.
Hi, I'm Sherry Wilmore.
And I am Sherry Wilmore. And we live in Terrebonne Parish, and we are vaccinated. How about you? Having people that I had access to who were medical professionals that we can go and speak to really helped to improve my confidence in becoming vaccinated. If I'm hesitant about something or I'm unsure, I read it.
As Jesus was setting out on a journey, a man ran up, knelt down before him, and asked him, "Good teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life?" Jesus answered, "Why do you call me good? No one is good but God alone. You know the commandments. You shall not kill. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness. You shall not defraud. Honor your father and mother." He replied and said to him, "Teacher, all of these I have observed from my youth." Jesus, looking at him, loved him and said to him, "You're lacking in one thing. Go sell what you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come follow me." At that statement, his face fell. He went away sad, for he had many possessions. Jesus looked around and said to his disciples, "How hard it is for those who have wealth to enter the kingdom of God." The disciples were amazed at his words. So Jesus again said to them in reply, "Children, how hard it is to enter the kingdom of God. It is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for one who is rich to enter the kingdom of God." They were exceedingly astonished and said among themselves, "Then who can be saved?" Jesus looked at them and said, "For human beings, it is impossible, but not for God. All things are possible for God." Peter began to say to him, "We have given up everything and followed you." Jesus said, "Amen, I say to you, there is no one who has given up house or brothers or sisters or mother or father or children or lands for my sake and for the sake of the gospel, who will not receive 100 times more now in this present age of houses and brothers and sisters and mothers and children and lands, with persecutions and eternal life in the age to come." Hello and welcome to Closer Walk Catholic Communications. I'm Father Byer, your host. We're very glad that you can join us today. A lot of stuff going on here. What must I do to inherit everlasting life? Shall not commit adultery, shall not steal, bear false witness, not defraud, honor your father and mother. But I've done all these things since I was a kid. Then sell everything you have and come follow me. You know, how many of us look at our life and say, you know, I really want to be holy. I don't want people to think I'm a pot plant at the church because I'm always there. But I want to be holy. I want to live a holy life. And that is, it's a tall order. And, you know, of course, you know, going through the seminary and priesthood and everything, the simplest explanation of holiness that I've ever heard is avoid evil, do good. That's holiness. Well, I think most of us spend our life avoiding evil. We don't get to the do good part because we got so much stuff that we need to work out in our own selves, our own minds, our own hearts, our own way that we see things. I used to have a priest who lived with me, and Father Dan Walsh, and he was just a wonderful man, and we worked together my first year out of the seminary, and we ended up being stationed together, and I really was the son he never had, okay? And he looked at me like a dad and worried about me and all that. But he was my confessor. And when I would go to confession, and I get so frustrated with myself because I really do know how good God has been to me. I really am aware of so many things in my life that God has given me that, you know, others don't have. And I'm not talking about talents, and it's certainly not singing. I'm talking about beginning with a family of faith and a very, very close family, you know, that I was so blessed to have. And it's out of that I've become the person I am. And of course, gone further. But, you know, the understanding that I've been so blessed. And then, you know, and I just think my priesthood is such a wonderful, wonderful gift. When I was in the seminary, and that was in the days of guitar mass and all that stuff that I played, and one of the older seminarians, we were in grad school, and he was Cuban, and there was a Hispanic ministry going on, and so he asked me on Saturday nights to go, and we played, you know, for the Hispanic Mass, we played and sang in Spanish and everything. And so for his ordination and his first Mass, I, you know, played the music along with others for his first Mass. And you might know him, he's on the Hispanic EWTN, Padre Pedro Nunez. And anyway, we got to his first Mass, and usually someone preaches at your first Mass, and you can make comments after after communion. Pedro got up after communion and he said, "God, if you take me right now, my life will be complete. Hello? Pedro, we've been studying all this time. You ready to check out? He said, no, I don't want to die. He said, but to stand at the altar of God and have the privilege to do what our Lord did is an honor that will never be topped in my life. And if I die now, my life will have been full. And I've never forgotten that. I've absolutely never forgotten that through my priesthood. And I see, as unworthy as I am, I see the great gift and the great blessing of priesthood that God has bestowed upon me. You know, and it's just out of that great gift that when I sin, I just think, you idiot, you stupid. You know, God has been so good to you. How can you be so, you know, sinful and so stupid and have such ideas and thoughts or whatever, okay? I'm not going to confession, okay? But, and, you know, and the old priest always told me, he said, you know, he said, the closer you get to God, the greater your temptations are going to be. He said, when you're out there just sinning, he said, you know, Satan is kicked back to enjoying himself. He's got no work to do. You're doing it for him. And he said, but the closer you get to God, the greater your temptations are going to be throughout your life. And he said, remember that. He said, it's when you start to get holy that Satan really does attack you. Now, I'm not sure I'm that holy, but I've always taken great comfort in knowing that God is still dealing with me. And when we look at the young man, and we look at the young man who desires everlasting life, you know, and when he says, I've done all these things, and I've done all that, honor my father and mother, and I don't steal, commit adultery, bear, don't do any of that. And the Lord said, then there's more to do. And I think of that in my own life. People say, when are you going to retire? Well, there is a chance that I will be getting out of parish responsibilities. I'm not going to retire. You know, first of all, I can't golf worth a darn, but secondly, I'm not going to spend my time playing golf and sitting at the beach or hunting or painting or, you know, God's got a lot left for me to do. And I don't think we ever, whoever we are, I don't think our spiritual journey is ever ended. That God is always calling us to do something with what we have, with where we are. You know, and I've used this example, but our former bishop, you know, and if you've ever done any elder care and ever dealt with people in senior facilities, a real hopelessness sets in, especially when they're not ambulatory and they need help for, you know, for eating and they, you know, and how many times have I heard, I don't know why God just doesn't take me. I'm not good for anything. I'm just a burden. And I don't know why God just doesn't take me. And I've gotten very, very bold over the years, and I say, because he doesn't want you. There's still something left for you to do. What can I do? What can I do? I sit here all day long. And I said, well, I'll give you a full-time project. Pray for me. God knows I need prayers. And so our former bishop, who was just a wonderful man, he went around to all the nursing centers of the diocese. And he said Mass, and he commissioned these people to be the official prayers of the diocese. And they had a little certificate and everything that you're an official prayer of our diocese because we need prayer so bad. And when, you know, and it further, you know, clarifies that as long as we're breathing, There's a reason why God has a purpose for us. And, you know, a lot of people can teach you things about life. Very few are the people who can teach you how to die. With dignity, with faith, with grace. I had an elderly lady down the bayou who was dying. I went to anoint her, and baby, how you doing? And you know, are you scared? Oh no, I'm not scared, because you know what? When our Lord comes, He gonna bring His mama with Him, because she wants to see who's that woman that been bothering me all those years and putting me on things every day of her life to do. And I just thought, God, what a wonderful beatific vision. I mean, you're really, really at the end. And what are you looking at? You're looking how great it's going to be. And the pain doesn't matter. The cancer doesn't matter. I'm getting ready to go home. And so, you know, we never do enough for God. Never. As long as we're breathing, there's a reason. There's a reason and a purpose that God has left us here. And there's something that He asks of us and something that He's calling us to do. Jesus looked around and said to His disciples, how hard it is for those who have wealth to enter the kingdom of God. The disciples are amazed at His words. So Jesus said to them in reply, children, how hard it is to enter the kingdom of God. It's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for one who is rich to enter the kingdom of God. They were exceedingly astonished and said among themselves, then who can be saved? Jesus looked at them and said, for human beings, it is impossible, but not for God. All things are possible for God. Hello and welcome back to Closer Walk Catholic Communications. I'm Father Barry, your host, and we're glad that you returned. 1981, Pope John Paul II called a universal call to holiness retreat in Rome for priests. There were 6,000 priests in attendance. Wonderful, wonderful experience. But during the course of our retreat, one of our speakers was Mother Teresa. And this, maybe that tall, frail little Albanian nun now living in India, walked up before the crowd and she said, my name is Mother Teresa of Calcutta, and I enjoy the freedom of poverty. She said, it's not that I own nothing, but nothing owns me. And I thought, wow, we have programs for that in our country. But a profound statement. It's not that I have nothing, but nothing owns me. I've always been amazed by that statement that it's easier for a camel to pass through a needle's eye than it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. And taking on face value in this day and age, what he's saying is, all you rich people can't get to heaven. It's not what he's saying. God does not check bank accounts at our time of death, okay? But the story of this needle's eye, in the wall of Jerusalem, there was a gate called the Needle's Eye Gate. And of course, in that day and time, the 18-wheelers of the day were camels. They were the transport. And the way the gate was made, if you took all the goods off the back of the camel, and then the camel got on its knees, then the camel could go through the needle's eye gate. And so when you take all the goods off the back, it means not that I own nothing, but nothing owns me. And when you get on all fours, it means that you humble yourself, and in humility, you can travel through the gate. And that reality is, I think, something that most people don't understand. During the break, someone in the studio audience asked me about how many people were scared to die and how many people were accepting. And perhaps one of the saddest deathbed anointings that I ever did was an older man. Wasn't really that wealthy. He had a few chips, but he was getting ready to die, and his son had died before him, and his widow was going to get his share of the inheritance, and he hated her. And I can't bear the thought that that bee, as he called her, is going to get some of my money. I said, man, you getting ready to check you out and cash in all your chips, and you worried about where they're going? That's the only thing that bothers you? How sad is that? And what it told me was the most important thing in his life was the money he had accumulated. And he was more concerned about the accumulation of his money than he was about his own soul. Baby, there is no one who gets buried in a Brinks truck, okay? No one gets buried with it. You don't take it with you. And so whatever God has blessed you with, you have an opportunity to do great things and make a difference in the world if you've been successful. Because there are no bank accounts where we're going. And the other place we're headed might just burn up paper money real quick, okay? Don't worry about that. Worry about what God has given you and the good that you can do with it. And I had a friend, very, very successful restaurateur. I mean, 5 or 6 different cities throughout the country, very high-end restaurants. And he had left his wife, living with someone, never married, loved the person, and his children rejected him. She was spending Christmas with her children. Christmas Eve, about 11 o'clock, he calls me. He's alone on Christmas Eve. Got nowheres to go for Christmas dinner. The restaurants are closed. He owns the most expensive restaurants in town. And I told him we're going to have about 60 people at the house and we'll eat off paper plates, but you're welcome. How sad. How sad. He died alone. His kids weren't there. The lady was. The lady loved him. His kids weren't there. What do you do with it? Oh, good. Where there's a will, there's a relative. There's always someone to fight over your money. There's always someone to fight over your money. And so why not take what God has given you and do something good? It's not what we have. It's what has us. And then when Peter says, Lord, we've given up everything to follow you, he said, there's no one who's given up a house, brother, sister, mother, father, children, or lands who will not have many times more. I can tell you that is absolutely true. You know, as a priest, my big challenge, in becoming a priest was celibacy, not being able to be married. A lot of guys in the seminary were saying, oh, I don't know if I can do without a wife and children and, their little sports leagues. I was much more base than that when it came to giving up marriage, okay? I don't need to explain that to you. But living without was going to be a great challenge all of my life. And I went through a lot of different, stages with celibacy. Initially, it was, not have sex for the rest of your life. Then when all my friends started getting married and I'd marry them and I'd baptize their babies, then when I started seeing these little kids in their daddy's arms and thinking their daddy was the end all and the be all and they loved him so much, I got a little jealous of that, and their house and their home, and go over there for dinner and, and of course I live in a rectory. Got a little jealous of that. But to be honest with you, the first time my celibacy really, really hurt was after spending 12 years in a community. And the bishop calls and said, I want you to be vocation director. And I left my people, loaded up my car and left. And that was not having anybody to call my own. But aside from being blessed with the wonderful family that I still have, I'm part of many people's families. I'm invited in many people's homes. I've had many people who've made what they have, they gladly share with me. The graces that I've received have been incredible. I have no child that bears my last name. I've had many, many children that I've been a father figure to, that I've raised, that I've been there for, that I've helped through difficult situations. And I've become that person in life for them to go to when they need something, not out of the wallet, but out of their heart, out of their mind. And for what you give up to God, God will bless you many, many more times over. Everyone thinks my life has been a great sacrifice. And there are sacrificial parts of it. But there's sacrificial parts of being married. There's sacrificial parts of raising children. There's sacrificial parts of taking care of aging parents. My life's been tremendously blessed. I've had great gifts, and God has allowed me to do more than I ever thought I would have the opportunity to do had I not, gone into the priesthood. And so God will never be outdone in generosity. Believe me, when you give generously to God, you will receive from God much more than you ever give. We thank you for being with us. May each day bring you closer in your walk with the Lord. God bless.
For 37 million Americans, this is life. Living below the poverty line. Every day, a struggle. Just to hang on. What would you give up to keep your grip? Food? Medicine? Clothing? tough choices that 1 in 8 Americans face every day. Many have jobs and children and families. But every day, life below the poverty line gets a little bit harder. Find out what you can do. Please, don't let one more fall. Go to povertyusa.org and get involved.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
This is Martin False live in Houma. We're in front of Hebert's Motel where water is up to the doorknobs at the motel. Telephone poles almost completely to the ground. This storm had some fury to it. The following morning, Hurricane Andrew had taken its toll on Terrebonne Parish. But the stick doesn't lie. No. That, you know, they said it started moving north-northwest. That was a jog.
It's a very tense day for Terrebonne Parish. Levee after levee has been breached. You won't know until it equalizes how many of them have actually broken. And I'm just looking at that stick shot again. That center circulation has moved back on the stick, and Lafourche and Grand Isle to me are ground zero at this point. We'll see you again tomorrow night right here, same place, same time on Bayou Time.
On this episode of One on One, we're going to go back in time. One of our greatest singers here in the area, Richard Toops, is going to be my guest on One on One. We're going to talk to Richard about his musical career, how he got started, and when he figured out he had a gift to reach a lot of people with that stellar voice that he has. It's all next on One on One.
One on One is brought to you by the Law Office of Waits and Downer.
The person who's been catastrophically injured is the one who needs experienced help.
My grandfather was 100% about compassion for the client, and so am I.
And one of the secrets is to always know your case better than your opposing counsel knows his or her case.
Helping people, fighting for people. Money can't buy that.
Waits and Downer. When you walk in our door, you're part of our family.
Great things are happening at Southdown. Students are happy here. We are Southdown. Successful, determined, and noteworthy.
We are Southdown!
At Big Wheels Travel Center, the fun and excitement are just around the corner in Bayou Blue. Big Wheels is open 24 hours a day and features 24-hour security, clean restrooms, and a wide selection of beer, soft drinks, and chips for all your needs. While you're there, visit the casino for daily cash prizes and drink specials 7 days a week. You'll get the feeling as if you're in a lush Vegas-style casino. Big Wheels also has one of the largest subways in the area. So stop by Big Wheels Travel Center, where everyone's a winner.
There are many strengths in our cancer center. I think one of the biggest is patients don't have to go elsewhere to get technology for their diagnosis and treatment of their cancer. Our treatment machine, the linear accelerator, allows us to pinpoint and treat cancers with more accuracy than ever was possible before. Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center provides leading-edge technology with the highest quality care and the best treatment options unique to each patient.
That's a pretty tight spot.
Watch this.
Your Buick Perks itself. That's so you.
Of course you know where we're going. That's so you.
Kinda got a sixth sense.
And a head-up display.
They're here.
You brought all these players in your Buick?
Yep.
So you.
It is.
At the heart of every Buick SUV is you.
Get $3,750 purchase cash on 2021 Enclave models. Plus, current eligible Buick owners get an additional $750 allowance when you finance through GM Financial.
Great things are happening at Southdown. Caring happens here. We are Southdown. Successful, determined, and noteworthy.
We are Southdown!
And welcome back to this episode of One-on-One. As promised, Richard Toops is my guest today. And what a voice, what a singer. And Richard, welcome to the program.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
You know, I don't remember, I was trying to think. Of course, we're in the same band now. We spent a lot of time together doing things we love, but I was trying to remember the first time I met you. And I don't know where or when it was. I know it was musical related. Through the years, after the storm and all kind of different things,
right,
that we edited video-wise that you were doing musical-wise was just really good stuff. But I thought we could start, just for the audience. Who is Richard Toops? What's the earliest years you remember?
Cool.
Where were you born?
I was born in Houma, Louisiana.
Okay.
Born and raised all my life. I went to school at Oak Lawn, South Terrebonne, graduated South Terrebonne in 71. And then I got married, and that didn't last too long because I really wanted to be in music. Because I had a group when I was in high school called The Living Sound, and we were probably one of the baddest groups in the South at the time. And I got out my senior year from playing, and after I graduated, I got married to my first wife. I married her the next year, the year after I graduated. But we didn't last long because she knew my heart was in music, and we left as friends. And actually, she's still in my family, man. She's my twin brother's daughter's godmother.
Wow.
So we split, and I saw this guy playing at the old Fiesta Lounge in Houma, Roy Briand's place. And his name was Lee Hoffman. And he had just written a song for the Miami Dolphins theme song. So I was over there one night listening to him play, and unconsciously I would sing all the time, you know, under my breath or whatever. I'd do harmonies and stuff. And I was sitting there, and when he took a little break, he asked me, he says, "You sing, man?" I said, "Yeah, I do." He said, "Would you be interested in starting a band?" I said, "Well, sure, man." So I already knew Rod, you know, and Rod Roddy, with the keyboard player in LaRue. I called him and asked him if he would be interested in doing that. So me and Rod got together, and I got a drummer named Mark Rodrigue. He owned Rodrigue Plumbing, and a guy named Ronnie Filson, guitar. So we started a little group backing up Lee. And then Rod's daddy owned a club right up the street called Dee's Lounge. I forgot what it's called now. But we started playing there 5 nights a week. And we became the Levy Band. All right. You know, time goes on, I got in a wreck I was riding my brother's motorcycle one afternoon, and this is prior to us going to Miami to play for the Miami Dolphins. And we made it an effort to boost our career with the lead song for the Miami Dolphins. So a week before, just like the other Richard you had on earlier, he said, I went riding my brother's motorcycle, and like you were saying all the time, I couldn't drive my motorcycle. You gonna learn how to drive it better. I don't. I know how to ride real good. I was just when I got into Klondike, I was going down to Montague, and on the blacktop side of the bayou, they had a little curve, and I was when I went to do the second part of the curve, a car was coming and didn't see me, so I had to ride the side of the road, and hopefully not go in the ditch. But my back tire slid in the ditch. So I had to bring the front tire in there, but I didn't know they had a culvert coming up. And when I hit the culvert, man, I was doing like 40 miles an hour, and I flipped. And the last thing I remember is waking up on somebody's couch, and I knew I had a broken wrist because I couldn't move my arm. So I had a big CPO jacket on. It was wintertime. When I got out, sat up on the couch, they told me to take my jacket off, and when they grabbed my arm to take my jacket off, I had some burns because they told me the engine had laid on top of me. It followed me all the way down. So that was my, I guess, stop of music for a little while in the career. So I had to heal. The band continued on. Got a chance to go to Miami with them. They played at the Marco Polo Hotel in Miami. Played with the Ides of March, the group, and War, and Temptations, all in the same club. Next door to us in the club was Tina Turner and Jose Feliciano. That was my first time actually ever traveling that far to do anything in music. So,
but just for the audience, later the Levy Band became Louisiana LaRue.
That's right. But before it became LaRue, we were playing at the Palmetto, and people like Bobby Kimball would come into the club because he knew Tony in the band, and they were all friends. So he would get up, and that's before Toto was ever thought about.
Right.
And man, his voice was like a monster. And I'm thinking, wow, if I could ever be that good, you know.
We think that about your voice.
Thank you.
So I can imagine
checks in the mail, man.
Yeah, I can imagine that Bobby Kimball. It's unbelievable, but y'all have different styles. There's no doubt about it.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
The person who's been catastrophically injured is the one who needs experienced help.
My grandfather was 100% about compassion for the client, and so am I.
And one of the secrets is to always know your case better than your opposing counsel knows his or her case.
Helping people, fighting for people. Money can't buy that. I'm Mary Riviere, and when you come through our doors at Waits and Downer, you're part of our family.
Cardiovascular Institute of the South's Ambulatory Surgery Center offers patients advanced and innovative outpatient procedures using the latest technology and treatment options. The first of its kind in the region, this center provides our patients and their families with high-quality care in a convenient, comfortable, and safe environment at a lower cost. Trust your care to the cardiovascular care team you know and love at CIS. Learn more at cardio.com.
I miss my normal life and doing things with my friends. Why are Mom and Dad angry all the time? When will I be able to see my grandparents again? I miss them.
Do any of these thoughts sound familiar to you? If so, you are not alone. The South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority offers support, counseling, and treatment geared at helping you where you are right now in the midst of this pandemic and your own personal crisis. The South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority, helping people, changing lives.
Dreams, as powerful as they are, can be vulnerable.
Quite scary as it enters the Gulf of Mexico. Millions without power.
At Hancock Whitney, we fight for the dreams of our clients. Because we're not just a bank. We're 4,000 of your friends, neighbors, and customers. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
There are many strengths in our cancer center. I think one of the biggest is patients don't have to go elsewhere to get technology for their diagnosis and treatment of their cancer. Our treatment machine, the linear accelerator, allows us to pinpoint and treat cancers with more accuracy than ever was possible before. Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center provides leading-edge technology with the highest quality care and the best treatment options unique to each patient.
When did you know you could sing? How old were you?
Probably 14. I made a F on my report card. Okay, my daddy told me, you're in the room for 6 weeks, buddy. So my sister felt bad for me for being locked up in there. So she gave me her radio. And I learned what Motown was, man. I turned my radio on, Stevie Wonder, you know, the Temptations. It's like, wow, man, listen to these cats. So, needless to say, the same week, I got a knock on my window because I couldn't go play with my friends after school. Right. So it was Neil Marlborough. Neil Marlborough used to be in my first band with me. So Neil goes, "We want you to be in the band with us." I said, "Well, man, you already got a drummer." He said, "We don't want you to play drums, we want you to sing." I said, "I can't sing." He said, "You sing all the time." Consciously I did. So I started with the Living Sound, and we won all kind of battle of the bands and everything. And I got a taste of it. And once you get music in your blood, you know, it's there.
Right. You know, I never forget, I'm going through a yearbook, and I think it was my junior year. Might have been my senior year, I'm not sure. And I'm looking through it. Now this is after we formed the Cane Breakers, and we band members at this point. And I remember going up to practice that night, and I showed you and Timmy Dusenberry this picture that there's Richard Toops, lead singer for Madonna, and y'all were playing at one of our dances at Vanderbilt. That's it. You had the long, dark hair back then, and Timmy had that big old hair. And I think Frank Ball was in that band too, huh?
Frank was there.
Who was in that band?
It was myself, Al Jacobs, Charlie Babin on drums, Jerry Adams on drums, Timmy Dusenberry on bass, Larry Martin on keyboards, and Frank Ball.
Wow, wow.
And 5 of us sang lead.
Yeah.
Just like we have now.
Yeah, just sort of like the Cane Breakers.
Right.
You know, and everybody says, well, how do y'all all share that? Because it's as fun singing backup for you guys as it is when your time comes to sing a lead.
That's right, it is.
And just finding those harmonies and all.
That's right.
But when it comes together, it's just, you love it. You love it.
Man.
But what would you be without music?
Ooh, I don't know. I never thought about life without music. That's a strange thing. I wouldn't even fathom to know.
I'll tell a funny story, because we're playing, one day the Cane Breakers are playing. I don't know if I ever told you this. And of course, on the stage, all the guitars up front, I'm saying this for the audience, you know it. So I'm right in front of you, because occasionally I'll turn to Richard and we'll share a light moment or whatever. And me, Rich, and Brian are right next to each other, Brian Zarang, and we chuckle about that. Well, I'm sitting right there in the corner, and some lady walks up to me and she's trying to get my attention. And while we're playing, and you know the hardest thing to do while you're playing, normally they wait to come talk to you after the song is over.
Right.
She's desperately trying to get my attention. So I bring her up and I take my little earpiece off and say, "Can I help you?" She goes, "Can you scoot over so I can see Richard sing?"
Oh, no.
And that's when I said, okay. But I mean, I'm used to your voice now, but when I hear it, I'm still mesmerized by it because it's that strong a singing voice. But as you developed it, when did you notice people started taking notice of your voice?
Probably at the Palmetto Club, when we were together with the Levy Band. You know, the first little group I had, the Living Sound, you know, you think you bad anyway, you know, but you don't know anything about life yet or music. So, but by the time I got into the Levy Band, I knew like Rod and Tony and all them cats, they were monsters. So I had to step up my game, you know. And I was playing bass at the time, and really wasn't that great of a bass player. You know, I don't think I had as much music ability as they did at the time. So I just, what I did all my life is throughout my groups, always tried to be better, knowing that the people I played with were better. And I strive to be as good as they were, you know, or do my best. And that's one thing my daddy always taught me. As long as you try your best, you can't fault yourself. So I just did the best I could in everything I do. And then growing up, my uncle was a musician. So my first take in the studio was at Cosmos Studios in New Orleans. And I don't even think it's open anymore, right off of Camp Street. And he would bring me with him to go record. He was a country singer. He wrote his own songs too. He played with Black Guidry and them in town over here. His name was Red Babin, Hugh Babin, everybody knew him. So he would take me to the studio, and I learned how to sing harmonies with him too, because they were always at my house every weekend. At my house, they always played in the kitchen, boy. A bunch of them.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
The person who's been catastrophically injured is the one who needs experienced help.
My grandfather was 100% about compassion for the client, and so am I.
And one of the secrets is to always know your case better than your opposing counsel knows his or her case.
Helping people, fighting for people. Money can't buy that.
I'm Joseph Waits III, and when you come through our doors, you are part of our family.
Hi, my name is Pastor Troy James. I live in Terrebonne Parish, and I am fully vaccinated. How about you? I had a lot of underlying conditions. And for my family and my friends, I did not want to go around them being unvaccinated, so I made it a precedent to be the leader in my family to get vaccinated.
Domestic violence is daunting, and the psychological effects can do enduring damage. Obviously, all abuse needs to end. But how? The Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office is dedicated to ending domestic violence and helping those who have already experienced it. Our office supports many programs that educate and adjudicate abuse towards women. If you are a victim of abuse, call the Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office at 873-6500.
This is Martin False live in Houma. We're in front of Hebert's Motel where water is up to the doorknobs at the motel. Telephone poles almost completely to the ground. This storm had some fury to it. The following morning, Hurricane Andrew had taken its toll on Terrebonne Parish.
But the stick doesn't lie.
No.
That, you know, they said it started moving north-northwest. That was a jog.
It's a very tense day for Terrebonne Parish. Levee after levee has been breached. You won't know until it equalizes how many of them have actually broken.
And I'm just looking at that stick shot again. That center of circulation has moved back on the stick, and Lafourche and Grand Isle to me are ground zero at this point. see you again tomorrow night right here, same place, same time on Bayou Time.
Doctor, my eyes have seen the years in a slow parade of fears without crying. Now I want to understand. I have done all that I could to see the evil and the good without hiding. You must help me if you can. Doctor, my tell me what is wrong. Was I wise to leave them open for so long? 'Cause I have wandered through this world as each moment has unfurled. I've been waiting to awaken from these dreams. People go just where they will. I never noticed them until I get this feeling that it's later than it seems. Doctor, my eyes, tell me what you see. Are you the prize to say if it's too late for me? Doctor, my eyes cannot see the sky. Is it wise for having learned now not to cry?
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm. This one-on-one program has been brought to you by the law offices of Waits and Downer.
Think premium can't be capable? Think again. Introducing the first ever AT4 lineup. Premium and capable. That's professional grade from GMC.
Get $2,000 purchase cash on 2021 Sierra Light Duty Crew Cab models. Plus, current eligible GMC owners get an additional $250 purchase allowance.
See your local GMC dealer.
If you have nasal breathing difficulties, snoring, mouth breathing, gritting and grinding of your teeth, TMJ, or headaches during the day, along with fatigue, depression, weight gain, you may have sleep apnea, which can easily be diagnosed via an in-office visit and home sleep study. If you or a loved one are having these symptoms and it's impacting your life, please schedule an appointment with us for an evaluation.
For years, Tony Alford and Priscilla Larpenter have been the foundation of what is now Alford & Associates. Their passion and vision have been embedded company-wide. It's about making sure that our community is strong and protected for the next generation.
I have such respect and pride for our company, and I'm excited to bring new and innovative ideas to our clients.
It's quite simple. It's the mindset of our organization to protect you from life's hardships.
Your benefits are our business.
Benefiting Louisiana hurricane victims, CMR Roofing presents Lee Bright, Randy Hauser,
Let me show you how.
and Colt Ford in concert at the Cajun Dome in Lafayette, Sunday, November 7th. Tickets now at RagenCC.com. Don't miss the Ragin' Country Crawl with Lee Bryce, Randy Hauser, and Colt Ford, presented by CMR Roofing, benefiting Louisiana hurricane victims.
Everyone needs help at some point during their life. The anxiety and sadness that you may be feeling right now can be conquered with the help of experienced counselors. The South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority call line is standing by right now, ready to assist you. Pick up the phone and call 1-877-500-9997 and let us help you through the crisis in your life. Helping people, changing lives. Let our caring staff help you today.
Hi, I'm Cherry Wilmore.
And I am Sherry Wilmore.
And we live in Terrebonne Parish, and we are vaccinated. How about you? Having people that I had access to who were medical professionals that we can go and speak to really helped to improve my confidence in becoming vaccinated.
If I'm hesitant about something or I'm unsure, I read it.
All right, welcome back. Very pleased to have the Speaker Pro Temp, District 53, and he's State Representative Tanner McGee. He's joining us again, and good to see you, Mr. State Rep. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on again, Martin. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I think we've been taking our turns with FEMA. I want to say maybe between Archie, me, and you is sort of a round robin, and I know they put $75 million in Terrebonne up to this point. They put close to the same in Lafourche, but it's a snail's pace. And I know we've been talking about that, and I've been hearing you on other media too, and you're really going after them. But I just don't know why we can't get this right. I'll give you the floor.
Yeah, and look, Martin, this is my first real experience dealing with FEMA from a state leader perspective, not from a personal experience. This is my first time having involved in the recovery process from that perspective. And what I've learned in the last 6 weeks is that FEMA works on its own timeline, and they're pleased by their own timeline, regardless of what the implications on the ground is. So they think if they get a trailer to you within 2 months, they did a pretty good job, because they're looking at metrics of like a California wildfire and say, well, that's what we did in California. We got you theirs at 2 months. That's fine. That's perfectly acceptable. My frustration is that every storm you and I know is different. The effects are different, and what's happening on the ground can require a different sense of urgency. And FEMA lacks that sense of urgency to meet the demands on the ground. And that's where the disconnect is. And so they will call you like, good news, we got this, and we're going to get it to you in 8 weeks. It's like, that's not good news.
Yeah, good news. No, you suck.
Yeah, that's the worst news I've heard all day. What are you talking about? Well, that's 1 month faster than we did it in Ohio for blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, this isn't Ohio, and they weren't facing the same issues. And
it's the same thing that I'll say this about the FEMA people on the ground. A lot of them are trying really hard. We've had great people come on our set. It's when it gets tied up in that next level, just like insurance. I'll say this. I interviewed the sheriff today. He's got 29 trailers over there by the motor pool. I think he told me he paid 27 or 29,000 each. They're running, people in them. He did this as an individual through a different kind of funding source. And then we get to FEMA, and they're proud because we got a few trailers trickling in. They're not hooked up yet. Nobody's in them. So I think we can do better.
FEMA did not get any of those trailers in, though. So let's be very clear. What they did is they allowed the state to step in and reimburse the state. So FEMA, as we sit here today, has not actually put a single trailer on the ground in Louisiana.
Really?
The state of Louisiana has put trailers on the ground and are now going to be reimbursed, hopefully, at some point by FEMA. The state took it upon itself. They requested from FEMA to allow them to do their own trailer program. The FEMA trailer program, they won't have trailers still, as we sit here today, until November, mid-November, at the earliest. So and that's going to have to meet all of FEMA's.
So the state, y'all, got the trailers, asked FEMA to reimburse you. They said, yeah, probably graciously said, yeah, because y'all took them out of a bind.
Absolutely.
And you got to hope they pay you.
That's exactly right.
Right.
And so the state put out an RFP, which is a request for proposal, saying, hey, people of Louisiana, vendors or across the nation, send us what you got. We secured a little under 1,000 that way. That's what you're seeing trickling in right now, is those responses. Once we were able to purchase those, I'll tell you that vendors realized this was real, Martin, and so they've been flooding in a second round. So there's a second round going out this week from the state to buy more trailers to supplement. In the first week alone, we had 5,000 requests for trailers through that state program. So you have, the demand is by far there.
Now, who gets to be the trailer man, like the vendor? Is it a bid process?
It's a bid process, yes. Well,
it's emergency. Maybe anybody can be.
Anybody can be.
Yeah.
It's a bid in the sense that we're vetting them to make sure that that they are of a certain quality, of a certain reputational.
No formaldehyde.
Right, exactly. You just don't want anybody sending any trailers, but we're trying to buy all the ones we can get immediately and available at a reasonable price. I mean, we don't want to be price gouged either. And you're making sure there's no brother hard deal and that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's literally just having this situation where people are saying, I got 10 trailers for X amount of price, and the state saying, sold, we'll buy them. And then those are the ones that have been trickling down to the Civic Center, and those are the ones that will continue to start being put out right now.
Just in the last part of this first segment, I've been knowing you for a while. You're a pretty calm guy. Boy, FEMA got under your skin.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
I try to be calm, but seeing what we were seeing on the ground, Martin, I know you've traveled like I have and seen all over the parish, and not having a sense of urgency in this situation, it got to me. I mean, you can't see it and not want something happening immediately, and not accepting, 2 months. And what good is that 2 months? At that point, people are going to be gone. They're going to move. They're going to find something. And I also feel like that's sort of probably the FEMA strategy, is to see how long they can wait you out, so that you find another avenue to solve this problem.
Well, they haven't met the doors down in Ile de Jean Charles, who ain't going anywhere.
No, absolutely.
They're staying.
They're staying no matter what. And I think
stay.
that's probably new too for FEMA, seeing people refusing to leave. But the net effect of the parish is, if we let these people leave, then we're hurting our own economy. I mean, it's both humanitarian, that these people need a reasonable place to live, but it's also a net loss of population isn't good for us either.
No, it's not. Hold that thought. We're going to come back because I have a lot more questions for the Speaker Pro Tem. We'll talk about insurance. We'll talk about just moving forward as a state and a community, all after the break.
Looking for complete peace of mind when buying your next pre-owned vehicle? Trep's got it. Why buy a Trep Chevrolet GM certified pre-owned vehicle? You could save thousands of dollars compared to a new vehicle. Most certified pre-owned vehicles offer a limited bumper-to-bumper coverage and limited powertrain coverage on top of new vehicle warranty. These vehicles have undergone rigorous inspection and come with a vehicle history report and maintenance history. So if you want true confidence, Trep's got it at Trep Chevrolet in Houma.
What you cooking? How about ribs? Rouse's Markets has country-style pork ribs, value pack, just 99 cents a pound. Get a USDA Choice Angus beef boneless rump roast for only $3.99 a pound. It's great in the oven or slow cooker. Fresh collard, mustard, and turnip greens are each just 99 cents a bunch. Feels like fall. Rouse's exclusive pumpkin chantilly cake with cinnamon, nutmeg, and pumpkin spice is only $19.99 and only for a limited time. Rouse's Markets. Feels like home.
At Big Wheels Travel Center, the fun and excitement are just around the corner in Bayou Blue. Big Wheels is open 24 hours a day and features 24-hour security, clean restrooms, and a wide selection of beer, soft drinks, and chips for all your needs. While you're there, visit the casino for daily cash prizes and drink specials 7 days a week. You'll get the feeling as if you're in a lush Vegas-style casino. Big Wheels also has one of the largest subways in the area. So stop by Big Wheels Travel Center, where everyone's a winner.
We've opened back up here at Terrebonne Ford, and we're here to help because we know so many of our customers have been impacted by the storm. If your vehicle was damaged or lost due to Hurricane Ida, we can offer you disaster relief employee pricing. That's right, get disaster relief employee pricing on any new Ford in stock. Just bring in your insurance claim to qualify and get disaster relief employee pricing. Go to TerrebonneFord.com or come see us at Terrebonne Ford in Houma.
Pelican Waste and Debris is your local company. We don't just work here, we live here and understand the unique challenges that face our region. Our commitment to our community and customers and love for Louisiana keeps us motivated. Pelican meets every residential and commercial service need, offering roll-off, front-load, and compactor services, ideal for hotels, restaurants, apartments, construction or industrial sites, and much more. We also make recycling simple and cost-efficient, offering single-stream recycling program options. We have set the highest standards for environmental protection, community engagement, and guaranteed client satisfaction. Visit pelicanwaste.net or call us at 985-873-9553 to save money with hassle-free service. Our team has over 100 years of experience, so we know how to make you happy. The sky is the limit, so fly with the Pelican.
All right, welcome back. We continue our talk with Tanner McGee, Speaker Pro Temp, District 53, State Representative. And, you know, we talked about FEMA. Let's jump to insurance. I had the insurance commissioner on 3 times, and I asked him this week to grade the overall effectiveness of the insurance situation right here in the area. He said C-. Archie said maybe a grade lower. Gordy echoed those comments. What do you think?
I would definitely give him a D- if I based off of what I'm seeing so far and what I'm
glad you didn't teach me at Vanderbilt.
Look, this is one of those ones you want to give them a good grade,
Right,
and you want
true.
to give them the A, and you want to give them our B+. But people, you know, everybody I've spoken to has been, their initial offers either haven't come yet, or they're ridiculously low, or they're just, for lack of a better term, jacking them around, and everybody's frustrated.
You know,
I'm frustrated.
this is what gets me. If so-and-so had $200,000 damage, and they take their deductible $10,000, so the insurance company owes them $190. They've admitted, we owe you $190. But then they want an advancement of, say, 80 or 90. Just get me going. So they throw that out to the insurance company. They come back and say, we'll give you 50. What the hell? You just said you owed the people $190. They make a counter to get some money rolling in. Then you counter the counter. It's ridiculous.
And look, I'll tell you how it was explained to me by some attorneys in Lake Charles who just went through all this with Hurricane Laura. They said they estimated the private insurance claim in Lake Charles to be $9 billion. They said that the insurance companies in Lake Charles paid $3 billion at the front end of it. knowing that they left $6 billion of liability left. They figured they would get sued by lawyers to make up part of that. They estimated that if the lawyers would recover in litigation fees, everything, another $3 billion. And then $3 billion worth of claims would never be followed up on, or people would just accept what they've gotten. So the insurance companies walk away saving $3 billion. So that's how it was explained to me about why they do the things they do to you, is because they're trying to frustrate you.
That's criminal to me.
Look, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
I'm not. It's
unacceptable.
It's some of the big ones.
Oh yeah, no, the one I've been hearing, and look, it's unacceptable. And I tell you, I think the thing that's going to make a difference this time, I'm hoping, is you now have Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana have experienced it last year, and they're all upset about it. And now you have Southeast Louisiana upset about it. I think if they don't do some things differently, they're going to be on the wrong end of some regulations coming in next year, because it's completely unacceptable. You pay for this.
Yeah.
This is not a gift. I mean, this is not a...
they're not doing us a favor.
Not doing a favor. This isn't your tax dollars at work. This is, you have bought this contract for them to help you in a time of need, and then they're doing the opposite.
The problem I have, they send adjusters down. The adjusters get out the car. They look like they might have just got into high school, some of them, and they take pictures. They don't know a whole lot about anything. They're there to appease the law, to fit within the law, that they send an adjuster. But if they're not qualified, they've already broke the law. Then they send the information out. The insurance company calls back and says, yeah, we would agree the first adjuster wasn't up to par. So we're going to send a second one. Then maybe a third one, or an engineer to come check everything out. It is wasting a lot of people's time when they know it's a stall tactic.
Absolutely.
It drives me crazy.
And the amount of money they're spending on all these adjusters and engineers when they could just give it to you.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's the most frustrating point to me.
Right.
And it's definitely not acceptable. And I think we need to look at how we...
Can you do anything from a legislative standpoint? Or does that go through the commission?
It goes through, most of it's regulated by the insurance commission. There are some things that the legislature can do, and we made a step towards that last time because the Southwest legislators were fed up, and so they filed some bills to address it, and we did some stuff. I think they probably didn't get as much as they wanted out of it, and so I think now that you got Southwest and Southeast Louisiana together on it, I think these insurance companies are going to...
My only plea is this. You were right. We got about 300,000 plus seeing all these reports every week that we're putting out. We're reaching a lot of people. They still have a chance to do the right thing.
Absolutely.
Do the right thing, and you may be able to win some people over, but I promise you, if you screw over people in our area and in Lake Charles, we talk more than Lake Charles. We get on the phone. We can't wait to talk over here. So if we start telling relatives and we start putting out horror stories on Facebook and everything else, they're going to take a hit.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I think one of the things you talked about is it's almost like you're at the will of adjuster bingo, right? If the good adjuster shows up, everything's fine. But if the bad adjuster shows up, it shouldn't be that way. It should be about what actual damages you have and what they owe you, not about if you're lucky enough to get the good one who shows up.
And you hit the nail on the head. And it's about, we got some good agents here, but it's over their head.
Absolutely. It's nothing to do with the agents.
We got some agents that are going to suffer because their company didn't do the right thing.
Absolutely. I've always found our agents in Terrebonne Parish to fight for them. I mean, I've had my agents call and say this is not right and fight for their customers against the insurance companies themselves.
I don't mind saying it. Travis Gravois is my agent. He's been on the phone, going to bat for me. Justin Bourgeois on the business side has been here fighting for me. I can't blame them. They've done an A+ job. The companies have to listen. We'll take a break. We'll come back, wrap things up with the Speaker Pro Temp. We'll give him the floor, talk about whatever's on his mind that you need to know as a constituent. We'll be right back.
Great things are happening at Southdown. Students are happy here. We are Southdown. Successful, determined, and noteworthy.
We are Southdown!
We know many of you have been affected by Hurricane Ida. We are open and ready to help at AJ Doman Chevrolet. No matter if it's sales, service, parts, or body shop, we are here to assist you. We have over 200 new, used, and certified cars available on our lot. No credit, bad credit, foreclosure, we can help. We say yes when others say no. Come see us at the foot of the Morgan City Bridge, call us, or check us out on the web. AJ Doman Chevrolet, the dealership that works for you.
Tony Alford and Priscilla Larpenter have been the foundation of what is now Alford and Associates. Their passion and vision have been embedded company-wide. It's not just about insurance. It's about making sure that our community is strong and protected for the next generation.
We analyze and then custom design your insurance policies to fit your business's needs, not the insurance carriers.
It's quite simple. It's the mindset of our organization to protect you from life's hardships.
Your benefits are our business.
Led by a 7-member commission, the Terrebonne Port was created to assist our local industry in promoting economic development. We monitor government regulations that affect our local industry and work with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to secure maintenance dredging funds. Because the HNC is the main artery for the heartbeat of Terrebonne's economy, Terrebonne Port fights a constant battle for funding to maintain the federally authorized navigable depth. We are now leasing waterfront and non-waterfront property. Terrebonne Port Commission, serving our industry to keep Terrebonne thriving.
Great things are happening at Southdown. Caring happens here. We are Southdown. Successful, determined, and noteworthy.
We are Southdown!
This is Martin False live in Houma. We're in front of Hebert's Motel where water is up to the doorknobs at the motel. Telephone poles almost completely to the ground. This storm had some fury to it. The following morning, Hurricane Andrew had taken its toll on Terrebonne Parish.
But the stick doesn't lie.
No.
That, you know, they said it started moving north-northwest. That was a jog.
It's a very tense day for Terrebonne Parish. Levee after levee has been breached. You won't know until it equalizes how many of them have actually broken. And I'm just looking at that stick shot again. That center circulation has moved back on the stick, and Lafourche and Grand Isle to me are ground zero at this point. We'll see you again tomorrow night right here, same place, same time on Bayou Time. All right, welcome back. And look, I just urge, during the break, take a deep breath. I want to come back and say this. If you're in the insurance business, just do the right thing. And do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. But if you don't, we have guys like the Speaker Pro Temp who have a little power in Baton Rouge. They can go to the insurance commissioner. I know the insurance people have a big lobby, but the people are the biggest lobby, and that's us. So just do the right thing, and everything works out. Let's switch gears if we can, Tanner. Y'all finally got some money in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, it's unusual since I've been there to actually have some money, but last year we're going to finish our last fiscal year with $1 billion surplus. When I came in, we had a $2 billion deficit that we had to try and solve the problem to give your viewers a sense of what this means. And we've been struggling pretty much ever since. $1 billion surplus is good news for Terrebonne Parish because as we're going through this recovery process, the state is going to actually have some resources to help us out.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking, once we do all the things we got to do with it, $450 million that can go to coastal restoration projects, construction projects, those types of projects. So that's looking at some really big stuff for here.
Can we put a wind dome over? We're doing well on the water, but hell, who would have thought a Cat 5? By the way, it's going to be a Cat 5. Everything we're seeing. You hearing the same thing?
I'm hearing the same thing.
Yeah. So I mean, we probably ought to quit saying it. We all know it's a Cat 5.
I call it a Cat 5. I don't even refer to it as a Category 4. I don't care what NOAA says it is.
Yeah. I mean, they'll change their mind once they get the buoy readings, and I mean the readings were breaking at certain points. That's never happened before either. But so when you look at the health of the state with COVID and with all the hurricanes, pretty good.
Pretty good. It's been a struggle, obviously, and if oil and gas stays at where it is with the price per barrel on oil, we're looking at even more money because, as you know, that's a huge revenue driver for the state of Louisiana. So when the price of oil goes up, if it stays this high, I mean, those numbers, our next fiscal year is going to be even better than $1 billion. And then look, with the rebuilding of Terrebonne and Lake Charles and all these areas, those also leads to more dollars and more construction jobs. I mean, that's all
more
stuff.
Trucks, more cars, more everything.
Trucks, everything. You got to go buy white trucks from Terrebonne Ford or GMC or Greg LeBlanc. That's all money that ends up back at the state.
More houses.
It's more houses. It's more everything.
Yeah.
So we're in a position that we've never been in. Not never, but it's been a long time since the state has been in to spend this kind of money. And so we're definitely going to be looking at what we can do to help the recovery. And look, I'll tell you what we did last time in Lake Charles. The state actually gave a no-interest loan to the Lake Charles School Board to begin rebuilding their schools.
Right.
So, and then that way they can be reimbursed for FEMA and not have those issues.
Yeah.
So there's things, this money is important. I mean, it really is. And what we learned in Plaquemine Parish is recovery is tied to the school system. I know you're about to have Philip Martin on in a second. And the areas that can get their schools back up and running first will do better economically as it goes. It's because St. Bernard was able to, and Plaquemine wasn't. And St. Bernard saw a comeback in its population and its economy, and Plaquemine never did.
What happens if FEMA screws over the state? Because they have a history of, we haven't received money since Katrina from FEMA. But it sort of takes the burden off the parish. So if the state says, all right, we're going to back up Terrebonne Parish with their schools, and they pay it and we build it, then the state takes on the role of the collector.
Absolutely. And the state has more bargaining power too. It's if you're a small municipality, it's hard to do. And look, also on top of it, it's hard for the parishes to have the resources to go and fight FEMA. The state has some more resources. I don't want to say that it's easy.
You got a few more attorneys up there.
A few more attorneys, a few more everything. And it's one of 150 states, you have congressmen and you have U.S. senators who are willing to get into the fight when it's the state who's on the hook. And so it's big for us for the state to be able to be in that position. So it's going to make a difference.
What are you telling people? Obviously, they're seeing you. You've done well as one of the leaders in Baton Rouge. Delegation brought in a lot of money here in the area. And not only just for our area, the whole region for that matter. But people have switched. They're in that hurricane mode still. They're anxious. They're desperate. They're depressed. When you see them, what kind of encouragement do you give them?
I think the most important thing is to let them know people care, that they're not forgotten. To me, that's the thing that people worry about the most, is that people have forgotten about them in Terrebonne Parish, and to let them know that we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that's not true. And we're going to fight every step of the day to make sure that your story gets told. A lot of times, Martin, obviously people want the recovery and they want the help. I think a lot of times they want to tell their story and they want to be heard. And I think listening is the biggest thing you can do, and then amplifying those stories out to other places so that we get the resources and that we get the help is the biggest thing I feel like I can do right now. And that's what we've been trying to do since the storm came. This morning alone, I've given 3 interviews to national, local, state, that 2 yesterday, and really all I'm doing is telling stories or trying to direct people to other places in Terrebonne Parish. Go to this place, you'll find this person, and then I give them a little contextual background about it so that they tell that story, so that it makes the national press, so that they'll care about us.
Right, I did an interview last week with a national syndicated group. They're shocked at our resilience. They're not used to dealing with people like us.
I know we're getting on time. You know who I did an interview with yesterday? German television. They sent a reporter all the way here because they're shocked that this is happening in America. They saw a news story about people living in tents in Terrebonne Parish, and they're shocked that happens in America. So they send a reporter to Terrebonne Parish to find out what's going on.
Well, good for you. Let's go ride together. We're going to go look together, bring a camera crew down in some of the bayou areas next week, and let's come and let you give some encouragement to the people.
Yeah, I would love to, Martin.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you for joining us today.
No, thank you for having me.
All right, Tana McGee, once again, doing a great job for us. We appreciate it. We'll take a break. We'll have a lot more. Don't go away.
Over the years, Louisiana's Cajun Bayou has seen more than its fair share of challenges. We're no strangers to adversity, and we know what it's like to struggle. These are unprecedented times, and while people will say this time is like nothing they've ever seen, we've heard that before. And just like all the other times, we'll get through this. Remember the good times. Remember Lafouche.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
We have
Anybody
individual
have
dreams,
an example?
and we also have shared dreams for our cities and communities. Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
Welcome back. We've missed you. We know it's been tough. Because rebuilding your business isn't for the faint of heart. Your business needs a jump start. And we're here to help. Introducing Surge, symmetrical speed fiber internet from eTel Business. Revved up data speeds at 30% off, plus 3 months free. We're glad you're back, and we're here to make your business surge.
Think premium can't be capable? Think again. Introducing the first ever AT4 lineup. Premium and capable. That's professional grade from GMC.
Get $2,000 purchase cash on 2021 Sierra Light Duty Crew Cab models. Plus, current eligible GMC owners get an additional $250 purchase allowance.
See your local GMC dealer.
I feel so overwhelmed. Being a mom, wife, employee, and now a teacher is exhausting. How do I keep my family safe from everything going on in the world?
Do any of these thoughts sound familiar to you? If so, you are not alone. The South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority offers support, counseling, and treatment geared at helping you where you are right now in the midst of this pandemic and your own personal crisis. The South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority, helping people, changing lives.
No law degree, no amount of experience can supersede the compassion that our firm gives to its clients.
One of the secrets is to always know your case better than your opposing counsel knows his or her case.
We try to carry those values that we've learned at home into the practice of law. And every client that walks through our door gets 100 years experience when they visit us.
I'm Mary Riviere, and when you come through our doors at Waits and Downer, you're part of our family.
Hello everyone, welcome to Training to Win in Life. You know, that's how you win in life, is you can make Jesus the Lord of your life. That's the only way I know. So welcome to the program, and we are delighted to spend this time with you. Father, bless this show, and we thank you for the anointing of God on the message to transform our lives and to give us courage to be your people. We'll see you in a moment. Today I want to talk to you about make the Lord your refuge. But it's a position that you have to do. Like, you have to. Cammie and John Borey told Rachel and I something the other day that really stirred us. And it was something simple from them, but it was so impactful to us. And they were like this: make the big decisions first, and everything else is easy. So you see, when you make Jesus the refuge, and you're not willing to leave that point of determination, everything else is easy. But you've got to make him your everything. In the Amplified Bible, it says this, Psalms 91, verses 8 through 9. We read this last week, but I want to jump from this point into today. Only a spectator shall you be yourself inaccessible in the secret place of the Most High as you witness the reward of the wicked, because you have made the Lord your refuge and your everyday dwelling place. I hide myself in him. I shelter my family underneath him. How do you do that? Prophetically, in communion with the Father. And when you understand that you can start doing that with your family and you watch God deliver you, then you'll get a vision that you can do it for your city. And you prophesy stuff. And then when you recognize you can do it for your city, then you'll get courage to pray for your whole state. And when you're praying for your state, you'll get courage to pray for the nation. And then you realize, my God, I live in a generation, so I'm going to pray for my whole generation. Then all of a sudden you become a world changer. But it started with revelation that Jesus is the explosion of glory in the earth, and I'm a recipient of it, and I'm going to share them all over the place. I want to read something to you. I've been waiting to read this to you since August. I've never had the Holy Ghost say, read this yet. But today I will. So you're going to have to pay attention. I did not give this to Cammie, so you're going to listen. General Michael Flynn said this prophetically, because he wasn't reading anything. He was just speaking to the Southwest Believers Conference August 1st of this year. And this is what he said. I believe firmly that our nation, the United States of America, has lost sight of her Creator. We are facing the truest of all tests because we have walked away from him. I sense we no longer have a just government that rules in the fear of God. In fact, God has been ripped out of the womb of Mother America. During the past several decades, America has thrown the laws of God out the window. There has been a systematic, intentional dismissal by the state, academia, and by a select group of wealthy, godless elites that set aside God's laws as the rule of law in America. If this is true, and the piety reflected by many in our religious leadership in their ranks keep their congregations asleep in the pew, we will lose our country as we know it forever. As stated by our founding father, John Adams, in 1798, our Constitution is designed for a moral and religious people. The essence of liberty is a limited government. The positive actions and involvement of its free citizens are forever sustained and will sustain our cause. Christians and citizens of America must get involved in the lifeblood of this country. The lifeblood of this nation is the Judeo-Christian principles and values this country was founded upon. And your actions at the local level will have an impact nationally. This crisis is our problem. I want to say this again. This crisis in this nation is our problem, and we can fix it. But it will start with a great awakening, and it will lead to liberty. End quote. Now, I said all that because what catches my attention is right in the center of this decree. He says, if the religious leaders of this nation allow their congregations to stay asleep, we'll lose this nation, and I will not stand before God and allow you to remain asleep. If you remain asleep, it's because you are asleep. If your wood remains wet, it's because you don't want to dry it out. If your heart doesn't burn with passion for this nation and the generations that are yet to come, you need to ask the Holy Ghost for fire, because he will give you fire. I'm not, I can't affect the past, but doggone it, I got something to say about the future. I know there was sins, and there was a lot of mistakes, and there was errors, and there was a bunch of stuff. But doggone it, I live right now, and I'll confess my sins in the past, but I'm going to reach forward to the future, and I'm prophesying that America will be delivered. So when we go back to this founding scripture, I want you to know something, that coming underneath the lordship of Christ is very liberating. I mean, you can't get past that. And coming under his lordship brings unspeakable joy and gives peace that passes all understanding. I mean, you just can't explain to an unbeliever what Jesus does to the human heart. But there's something that we don't talk about a lot, and that's carrying the heart of God to a people. It's carrying the passions of Christ to a people, and that's weighty. That's heavy. And I don't know that the churches we don't know how to identify with that no more. We don't know how to fight for the future. We've become complacent in what we have, and we just want to fight for me and my few. I want to fight for my meal and my job. But what about the future? What about the weight of glory that God's put in you to be able to share with the next generation, to be able to give it away, that when your time in this earth is up, what did you do to promote the glory of God in the earth? Listen, many of us are either in retirement, working towards retirement, but why have you retired from being a Christian? A Christ representative in the earth? Why aren't you involved in life anymore? Why are you just stagnant and lost all hope and waiting to die? Death is not an option. Life is the option. Because even if you do die, you'll live. So why not live until you check out? I want you to see this next portion I'm going to share with you, because I'm going to share this 3 times today. Somewhere in the future, and maybe today, there's going to come a people that are going to rise up to take the place of Jesus. And they're going to bless humanity just like Jesus did. Somewhere in the future. Now the future is 1 second. Now is the future. There's going to be a people who are going to say, I am tired of just breathing God's good oxygen and not having passion for the future. I'm tired of being ripped off, stolen from, sick, broke, busted. I'm tired of being discouraged. I'm tired of facing all these reports of lack and hurt and pain. I'm about to throw my feet in the sand and say, no more. I'm going to plant my feet upon the rock that sits underneath that sand, because right now the sand seems to be shifting. But underneath that sand, I'm planting my feet in the sand, because underneath the sand there's a rock. And I'm going to stand there because I want to be one. I don't know about you, but me. I'm going to speak for me. I want to be one. I want to be one. Who's going to say, I'm looking to be the one who can stand before my city and break bread and fishes and say, go distribute and watch the multitudes be fed. You say, only Jesus does that. No, that's not what he said. He says, go ye into all the world, preach this gospel, and greater works than these shall you do. So it's time that we reestablish ourselves in faith. Faith for his outcomes. And if you will establish yourself in faith for his outcome, that makes you a warrior. Christianity needs to shake free from this slumber and sleep. Oh, it's just easy street. You know what it's made us? It's made us fat and lazy. Come feed me, feed me. You know, if you talk to military guys, those who have been in the military, I've not been in the military, but I've been around enough, they know this. Everybody's got a platoon. Somebody's in charge. This is a platoon. Somebody's in charge. You can't break rank. You should be attentive to time and effort. You should come on purpose to hear what the general of the army is saying through the platoon leader. And you've got to be faithful to the little things, because if you're not faithful to the little things, how can you be faithful to the big things? How can you provide liberty to a nation when you can't follow basic protocols? Now, I'm not fussing. I'm doing a health checkup today. But I want to tell you something. If you will be a warrior of God, His love will carry you through unscathed. If you'll stand up and say, I'm not backing down. I will not be quiet. We're in a time right now in this nation where it is out there. The Department of Justice is telling moms and dads, don't go to school board meetings and tell them how you really feel about critical race theory. Don't do it, or I will punish you. And there are mothers and fathers rising up all over the nation and saying, punish me, strip me, whatever. My kids are more important than this. In our study the other day, we studied how the founding separatists came to this nation, and they were really ill prepared for the winter that was in America. And it was said they planted their faces in the snow, and they died so their kids could walk on their backs to get to a better future. Oh my God. And we want to trash the past. And I know there's a lot of sin, and there's a lot of broken, but there's a lot of Jesus sacrifice. Excuse me, because I can't see with tears in my eyes. So warring for His outcome is believing God. And it's believing God for the basis of just protection. He says, I'll give you this protective bubble. It'll encompass you. It'll carry you through every unfolding chaos. You can be assured of the promise, but you got to stay active. You can't be afraid. Come on, people of faith will never be denied by God. And when you're not denied, guess what happens? He'll raise you up. And what He's raising you up for is to face every Goliath in this nation. It's to face every lying demon spirit that yells at you and tells you you have no future. You see, the warriors of God refuse to yield to demonic forces in this earth. You know why? Because they allow the zeal of the Lord to consume them. It's time, I'm telling you, it is time that you and I become consumed with the zeal of God. The zeal of God is defined as fierce indignation. Now listen, we don't fight against flesh and blood, so we're not mad, we're not pointing fingers and cursing people, but doggone it, you gotta get fiercely stirred up on the inside of you against every form of injustice in this land. You serve Jesus, the most courageous man in the universe. He bore your sins, carried your sorrows, and by the beating He accepted within Himself, He made you whole so that you could be like Him in this generation. If He's anointed with courage and baptized with fire, so are you. Well, I'm afraid, Pastor. Shake it off. Get a ladder. Get over it. I'm sorry for being such in your face today, but I just believe it's time that we recognize that we have drifted from our calling. You know, when you're fishing and if you're not careful, you don't even know that if you're not tied up or you lose your anchor or something, you don't even recognize you're moving. You're moving. And you know, you're living in a world and you say, I make Jesus the Lord of my life. He is the Alpha and the Omega of my life. And that's all wonderful and good, but if you're not careful, you're moving away from point. That's why I'm telling you, it's time that you throw your feet down into the sand that is shifting and moving, and you dig deep for the rock that's set in the sand. I want you to begin to get a vision, because this is what the Spirit of God told me this week, so I'm giving it to you. He says you're in a season now of recompense. That means you have had generations in the past that have stolen. They've been stolen from. I look at my wife. I don't really know much that I'm aware of in my family that's been stolen, but I'm sure there's been a lot. But I look at her family and how much was stolen from her mother and her father because of fear and intimidation. It's time to take it back. And then he says your own life has now propelled you to have a harvest. Your harvest is in the field. So I got their harvest, I got my harvest, and I got a harvest that's for the future. And listen, David reached into the future because prophetically he saw Christ and he got a hold of that grace and that mercy and he pulled it into his generation. That's called plundering. And you're in a generation and you're in a time frame. It is time to recompense. It's time to harvest. And it's time to plunder. Now I got a couple questions for you. Why did Jesus redeem you? Why did he make you a new creation? Why did he make you the righteousness of God? Why does he dwell in you? Why does he give you his name? There has to be an expectation for him to do all this for us and make us like this. Do you think that he did all of this for us to make us sons and daughters of God who never face an enemy? Do you think that we've been called sons of God to simply read the Word of God and never act on it? When will the church take redemption and her new creation seriously? When will we rise up on the inside? Put your feet into the shifting sand and says, I know there's a rock down here. I know that history's calling for a generation to rise up and to be like Jesus and to bless the people of this earth just like Jesus. And I don't have to look any further. I want to be one. You say, well, I don't know how to do that. Welcome to the show. I don't either, but I'm willing to stand up and say, come on, Holy Ghost, start right here. Let me ask you a question, because so many times the church is fearful, backed into the corner. You use the church as a hiding place, not a launching point. It's a hiding place. Is Satan invincible? I mean, I thought he was already defeated. But the truth is, we've got to face this issue, because why am I afraid then? Why am I afraid to offend somebody? Why am I afraid to speak up on my behalf? Why? Come on, listen. Demonic forces are dominating humans on this earth. Humans are being trafficked by demonic forces. We want to talk about human trafficking? Demons are doing it all the time. And they're pulling people out of the church, and it's just a mess. But I'm telling you something. The church has the authority to overcome these forces. You have been authorized by God to make not converts, but students of the Word. I'm going to ask you a question. When's the last time you led somebody to Jesus? Why has it been that long? Why aren't you fishing more often? Why don't you spend your day looking for Jesus out there in opportunities, and then you gather them together and you start teaching them the Word and you bring them to church? Well, maybe they didn't want to come to this church. Well, maybe they should come to this church, because if they like you, they're going to like this. Fill this place up 10 times over. Force me to have 10 services every Sunday. The worship team might not like it, but I love it. I'd preach until I can't preach no more. Come on, prayer and communing with God is our method of dominating these forces that are wrecking civilization. We've got to get back to the basics, church. You got to put your face in the carpet, knowing this: my time before Jesus is exposing my back for my kids to take another step forward. And I really do believe this, that the difficulties that we're facing in this particular generation are created because we have a incomplete knowledge of who Jesus is. And we don't respond to the Father's call. The future is in the mystery of the person of Jesus. And the future is also in the mystery of his purpose. Jesus came to destroy the works of the devil. Do you believe that your calling is any different? Your calling is to destroy darkness. Our calling is to be a house of launching, of worship and things. This place ought to be so filled with glory that when we worship, demons flee out of the atmosphere because God comes and meets with us. But we come here and look, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, but so it's just in a general context. We come here in a lot of cases just to do our obligation. Just to come spend time. It's like Sunday morning lunch. We're getting together with family. We're having fried chicken and cream potatoes. And I love family stuff like that. But when is it ever going to be the gathering of the warriors who are determined, I will not lose this battle any longer? And we do these things because when we do this, we believe that God will teach us. He's promised that. You remember we read a little while ago? He says, if you make me your hiding place, I'll preserve you from trouble. And I'm going to instruct you. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to guide you. You know what that means? You can be taught by God. When's the last time you ever thought about that for a while? That the Holy Ghost living on the inside of you teaches you God stuff. So I do want to tell you this, because I know my time is up, because I don't want you to miss this. I know in dark times it seems like God abandons us. God never abandoned you. He's preparing you. He's preparing you through what you believe is isolation. How hungry is your heart for him? How deep is your passion for him? Because let me tell you something, when it seems like nothing is working, you get to find out what you're really made of. You say, well, I never left Jesus. I know. Just go deeper. Go further. Remember, Jesus says, I'm going to build my church, and the powers of death shall never prevail against it. Jesus, I'm going to build my ecclesia. I'm going to build my legislative branch of government in the earth. I'm going to do this for the sake of all mankind, that all men might be saved. And he says this to the church. He said, this ecclesia, this small group of people, this assembly of believers, I'm preparing you and setting you up so that you know the gates of hell or the powers of death have no power over you. None. And that is made available to those who respond to God. Now, I got to close with this. I've been waiting for a while to get to this. In 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 31, King Saul was preparing the transfer of power to his son Jonathan. But Saul his heart had moved from God. He had become an evil leader. He sought witchcraft and sorceries. He wasn't hearing from the prophets of God anymore. He was getting his words from outside sources. And he knew, though, there was a light in the camp. That light shined brighter than his light. That light was more attractive than his son's light. And he knew, as an enemy of God, he had to extinguish that light. Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for being with us today. Let me just share this with you. If you've never made Jesus the Lord of your life, you can do that right now. Call upon the name of the Lord, the Bible says, and you'll be saved. In other words, call out to Jesus. Give him your heart. Confess your failures, and then embrace his lordship. Now, if you do that, and you're looking for a family, we want to invite you to Thibodeau Family Church. We meet on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. and Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. You know, it would be really a great joy if you would come and worship with us. We would take great delight in getting to know you and having you as a part of our family. So remember this, as long as you keep Jesus as the Lord of your life, you'll always win in life. You just can't lose because Jesus is the victor. God bless.
Think premium can't be capable? Think again. Introducing the first ever HTV10 lineup. Premium and capable. That's professional grade from GMC.
Get $2,000 purchase cash on 2021 Sierra Light Duty Crew Cab models. Plus, current eligible GMC owners get an additional $250 purchase allowance. See your local GMC dealer.
Hi, I'm Cherry Wilmore.
And I am Sherry Wilmore. And we live in Terrebonne Parish, and we are vaccinated. How about you?
Having people that I had access to who were medical professionals that we can go and speak to really helped to improve my confidence in becoming vaccinated.
If I'm hesitant about something or I'm unsure, I read it.
Looking for complete peace of mind when buying your next pre-owned vehicle? Trep's got it. Why buy a Trep Chevrolet GM certified pre-owned vehicle? You could save thousands of dollars compared to a new vehicle. Most certified pre-owned vehicles offer a limited bumper-to-bumper coverage and limited powertrain coverage on top of new vehicle warranty. These vehicles have undergone rigorous inspection and come with a vehicle history report and maintenance history. So if you want true confidence, Trep's got it at Trep Chevrolet in Houma.
Whether it's directions for out-of-towners or coffee for morning people, the Civic Stop has what you're looking for. From propane, air pump, 24-hour pay at the pump, and Speed Pass. We accept Fuel Man and also have an ATM on site. Fishermen stop here for bait and ice specials with a fill-up. Stop in for a free 6-ounce cup of coffee till 8 a.m. And don't forget about Subway. Not only do we serve great Subway sandwiches, but breakfast too. So stop in and see the difference with friendly and helpful employees at the Civic Stop. 3040 Barrow Street next to the Civic Center in Houma.
Hi, I'm Orlando Williams, and I live in Terrebonne Parish, and I'm vaccinated. How about you? My father entered the hospital with COVID in its early stages. My daddy lived till day 13, and to wake up to a call at 6:45 from the doctor saying you have 2 minutes to get the rest of your family on the phone. He had to die alone. I made it my mission to make sure no other family had to feel this.
Think premium can't be capable? Think again. Introducing the first ever HTV10 lineup. Premium and capable. That's professional grade from GMC.
Get $2,000 purchase cash on 2021 Sierra Light Duty Crew Cab models. Plus, current eligible GMC owners get an additional $250 purchase allowance. See your local GMC dealer.
Hello and welcome to this segment of our Green Leaf Dispensary. So very glad you are joining us. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, and joining me as always, Mr. Omar Picante. Omar, welcome back to the program.
Hey, thank you for having me, Mr. Whiteside. Glad to join you here today.
Well, man, I am very glad to see you, and it's really good to kind of be seen because this has been one heck of a storm that really has impacted our area. And as people are going to watch this, I kind of want them to know how things are going. Can maybe we first talk a little bit about, because you guys have your location here on West Park here in Houma, the impact maybe that y'all have seen at the location?
Yeah, it's definitely been a very trying time with the impacts of Hurricane Ida. Caught us kind of a little bit by surprise in terms of the strength and the winds and all of the damage that happened. You know, normally being from Louisiana, we kind of accustomed to hurricane, but this was a special one. So I think it really opened up our eyes to the force and everything that hurricane brought to us. So, personally, me being from the Lafayette Generate area, of course, I evacuated personally since once I got a good reading of the storm, because at first it was indicating it may go to Lafayette area, it may turn. It was a lot of uncertainty. So, once the coordinates was really dialed in, then we felt, going back to Lafayette was the best place.
Right.
So, that worked out to be a good situation. But, me having a place here in Houma got severely damaged and devastated. So kind of lost a lot with my personal residence here in Houma. But we was very fortunate at the dispensary, very, very fortunate and blessed. I just feel like it was divine intervention that really played a large role in protecting our business. We sustained very minor damage when you look around and assess the damages around our building, even maybe 2 offices down. The roof was blown off, walls and popped out, windows blown. So it was just that close to us. So we was very fortunate in that we had very minimal damage. We was able to repair them within a day, but it has severely impacted our customers, and that's the main focus of, wanting to talk about our customers here.
Right, and that was kind of the question, because if you guys sustain the same kind of damage you got at your apartment or your residence here that you got at the dispensary, we would be having a different kind of discussion, because it would really limit and prevent access for your clients.
Yeah, absolutely. We sustained a minimum fraction of the damage at my resident here in Houma. We couldn't be able to open. It would have been a start over, which is a lot of things, the sentiment of a lot of our customers at this time, because we reached out and we talked to a lot of customers. Even though we don't have any telephone and phone lines, we was lucky enough to forward our calls to our answering service. So our answering service has been receiving messages where they forwarded directly to our cell phone. So we've been able to communicate with patients, and it's a lot of gut-wrenching, very heartbreaking in terms of the devastation that they have sustained, the situation where some of our customers are still without power, some has just gotten power. So, we've been on the front lines of anything that we can do outside of providing medication to assist, because we're here, we're part of the community, and we want to assist each and every one by any way that we can.
Well, and I know one of the things, being in the health field like you guys are, we tried to find as many options as we could to stay in contact with people, finding out where they are, finding out what they need, and being able to provide that. And so being able to forward those phone lines has really helped for you guys. Have y'all been able to stay in touch and communicate a little bit more frequently here as the time has passed a bit since the storm?
Yeah, we have. We have our Facebook page, and also patients calling in. So we was very fortunate enough to be able to open last Monday on a generator. Our generator, good thing that we have that available. That's been instrumental in allowing us to operate, and that was a requirement by the Board of Pharmacy. So it really became an important component and allow us to operate, and it powers about 60-70% of the building, essential things, but it allows us to open, and the feedback, from customers was tremendous. They just were so happy and glad that we was open. A lot of our patients was running out of medication. They was happy to come in to talk to us. And, our conversation with them has evolved way beyond just medication, because we know them on a personal level. So just to hear their stories, offering comfort, offering different resources, what's available, how can you get in touch with, different entities to be able to aid and assist in the recovery efforts, has been a tremendous help, I believe, to them.
Well, and listen, you bring up a really valuable point. As we finish out this segment, we're going to talk a little bit more about it in the next segment. But when we've got people with chronic conditions, and then we put a Category 4, almost Category 5 hurricane, and the devastation that people have seen in this and the surrounding areas, it's the stress level that can really exacerbate and really make some of those conditions worse. And so I, as a community social worker, am incredibly thankful that people like you and your team were helping those people and being a significant resource.
Yeah, absolutely. In addition to the normal thing, this has brought a lot of stress in terms of, people's mental health as well. So that's why it was so important for us to be open, to be a resource, not only for medication, but also conversation. What else can we do outside of what we normally do and best at to be able to assist? And patients really appreciate that. They was able to get good information. They know that we're there, and it's been a great help to them.
Well, we appreciate that. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, more with Omar Picante with another Greenleaf segment when we return. Don't go.
Broussard Dove handles business and residential hurricane claims. We have over 14 years experience dealing with insurance claims for hurricanes with proven results. We handled hurricane claims before Hurricane Ida and will be here for years to come after. We've recovered millions for business owners and homeowners. So if you need help with your hurricane claim, let us fight for you. Go to our website and fill out a form for a free claim review or give us a call. Broussard Dove, attorneys at law.
Looking for complete peace of mind when buying your next pre-owned vehicle? Trep's got it. Why buy a Trep Chevrolet GM certified pre-owned vehicle? You could save thousands of dollars compared to a new vehicle. Most certified pre-owned vehicles offer a limited bumper-to-bumper coverage and limited powertrain coverage on top of new vehicle warranty. These vehicles have undergone rigorous inspection and come with a vehicle history report and maintenance history. So if you want true confidence, Trep's got it at Trep Chevrolet in Houma.
Bacteria and germs run rampant in the air that surrounds us. It's more important than ever to keep our surroundings clean. Introducing BioPure. Specializing in commercial and residential disinfection applications, BioPure's advanced treatment process allows them to disinfect more surfaces quickly and effectively, with no inconvenience to staff or family members. Let BioPure help you create a better environment for everyone. Call for your free consultation today at 985-322-3003.
Here at South Louisiana Bank, we support our neighbors, the organizers, the helpers, the leaders, the dreamers. We support those that move our community forward. Louisiana has grown from the dedication, commitment, and loyalty of the people who call this beautiful place home. We are proud to offer our services to the communities in South Louisiana. South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together.
Hello and welcome back to another segment from our Greenleaf Dispensary. Very glad to have with Greenleaf Mr. Omar Picante joining us. Omar, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Whiteside. Thank you for having me join you here today.
I appreciate it. And thank you and your team for what y'all are doing, because, I got to tell you, the fact that you have a newer building, a newer remodeled building is a blessing.
Sure.
Some of these older buildings didn't fare as well. In fact, like you said, even just a couple doors down, lots of windows out and ceiling and roof going. And so very glad that that's there. And the reason is for exactly what we were talking about just a minute ago. You are actually, the greatest gift that we can ever give anybody is the gift of presence.
Sure.
Y'all have been present.
Yeah, and that's been a true blessing. We just feel so fortunate in the minimal damage that we sustained. So, going through that construction phase, we really had a good coverage of starting out and building it, specific to code, and above and beyond,
Right.
Especially with the roof,
Right.
Of having that really secure. So I think that was instrumental, along with the grace that we received from
Yep.
above, to provide protection. So that enabled us to be able to withstand what others, different properties haven't been able to. So we was very, very fortunate. So that has enabled us to be open and to really be a resource for our patients and for community in general, because like I said, we're from the community, we're part of the community, and we always want to be that helping hand to the community.
And there have been so many more things needed than just their medication. But look, I want to tell you, finding medication for people has been it's been a real struggle. And fortunately, y'all 2 Mondays ago were able to open up.
Yeah, and that's been the exciting part. Patients was so glad. They was wondering, well, what we gonna do? Are we gonna have to travel to Lafayette? We gonna have to go New Orleans? We was happy here, and we was able to, I'm glad that we're able to be that sound place where they can still come where they're comfortable with. So being present, coming in, understanding their needs. Some of the needs have been changing because of the sheer stress level. When you done work hard all your life to build your livelihood and your house and things, and although it's material, it still takes a while to be able to let that sink in and process, of something that you built all your life, and all of a sudden it's taken away from you in a matter of a second. So, putting it in perspective of understanding what's going on, but mostly looking to the future and know that, you can rebuild along with the people around you to be able to, address any needs that may come up.
Well, and also having, you mentioned it earlier, it's a really good point, having both the mental and the physical stability to be able to do that. That's the big concern for people with chronic conditions. With a lot of your clients, a lot of your patients, they need to know that they're going to be able to handle this, and a lot of these medications help them, and be physically. Sometimes you got to push yourself, in these kinds of situations when you probably wouldn't. But having their medication has really helped. And so tell us a little bit about some of what I don't want you to share personal stories, but a little bit about what you heard and maybe some of the relief that you brought to a situation that didn't have much relief.
Yeah, a lot of the patients, because of the damage, they're doing more physical activities, cleaning out the yard or trying to move broken limbs and so on and so forth. So, a lot of patients call with increased pain as it relates to them being more physical, being just to try to get their sense of normalcy back. So that was a big help by us being open, because now, their situation in terms of their pain level and the stress level has increased. So they're looking forward to having, medication that can address it. So we've been getting numerous calls and patients coming in, just, the stress level, the anxiety, the unknown, coming to grips with all of that, and then being without power, the living condition has deteriorated. So all of this have contributed to the anxiety, the stress levels through the roof. So by us being open and them coming in and talking with the pharmacist, my partner Donald Richard, adjusting the medication, it's been a huge relief. And they can't thank us enough, but we can't thank them enough, because that's what we're here for. That's our calling, that's our mission, and we're going to fulfill our mission in serving and helping patients at all costs.
I got to imagine, before we get into some of the new products, and we're going to do that in the last segment, but I got to imagine that one of their big fears may have been, can you get the medication in? It sounds like y'all did an exceptional job of keeping those pathways open, of getting all of your products in.
Yeah, and we was fully stocked before the storm came in, so we had the latest medication that was available. We have our procedures in place that is mandated by the Board of Pharmacy, by having a generator active, natural gas powered, that automatically cuts on when power it goes off the main line. So, our generators kicked on immediately, and that continuous source of natural gas allow it to continuously operate. So, we never lost some power and abilities within the shop. So all we had to do is make sure that our connectivity of our software and hardware was together, and we was able to operate off of Wi-Fi. So we was technically all ready to go. So, once we came and assessed the situation and and seeing and testing our abilities, we knew we wanted to be open at all costs. Even if the system was down, if it goes back to where we had to handwrite things, then that's what we was going to do, because being able for them to get their medication is most important.
Yeah, and again, the fact that you fortified the building, you had the generator as per the code, you were able to access everything, you were able to get back to all the Wi-Fi that you needed, you didn't have to go to paper, you made it work for them, and you planned for that ahead of time. We want to look to the future, and when we come back from our next break, we're going to look forward to a couple new products that you have. We'll do that when we come back.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back with Omar Picante with Greenleaf right after this break.
It's fall savings time at Barker Mitsubishi. Drive home a new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander for just $239 a month. That's a new 2022 Outlander for just $239 a month at Barker Mitsubishi in Houma, or shop online at barkermitsubishi.com.
If you are suffering from chronic cough, bronchitis, reactive airway, or persistent asthma that's difficult to control, or diagnosed with COPD, please listen carefully. You may be suffering from allergy sinus, bronchial asthma syndrome. For as we now know that undetected or uncontrolled infection in the upper airway can affect the lower respiratory tract. If this is happening to you, please call us for an evaluation.
Domestic violence is daunting, and the psychological effects can do enduring damage. Obviously, all abuse needs to end. But how? The Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office is dedicated to ending domestic violence and helping those who have already experienced it. Our office supports many programs that educate and adjudicate abuse towards women. If you are a victim of abuse, call the Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office at 873-6500.
Think premium can't be capable? Think again. Introducing the first ever HTV10 lineup. Premium and capable. That's professional grade from GMC.
Get $2,000 purchase cash on 2021 Sierra Light Duty Crew Cab models. Plus, current eligible GMC owners get an additional $250 purchase allowance.
See your local GMC dealer.
West Park Climate Controlled Self-Storage is a state-of-the-art storage facility with clean, convenient, and secured climate-controlled storage. Open 7 days a week with professional storage counselors to assist with all of your storage needs.
I'm Tammy. Come see us at West Park Storage for all your packing and storage needs.
Hi, I'm Kelly. We also have parking for RVs, boats, and cars with 24-hour access.
Hi, I'm Tricia, the manager of West Park Storage, and we would like to thank you for 16 years of great service, and we hope to provide many, many more.
HTV would like to inform all of you that Friday night sports game highlights will no longer air on Friday nights. HTV will choose 3 games per week, and those highlights will be featured on our Sports in the Bayou program that will air Tuesday and Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Join Bobby Hebert, Mike Detillier, Rich Marty, Stan Gravois, Harry McCullough, Dr. Pat Hagan, and Martin False as they bring you all of the Saints, LSU, Nicholls State, and high school highlights on a weekly basis.
It's fall savings time at Barker Mitsubishi. Drive home a new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander for just $239 a month. That's a new 2022 Outlander for just $239 a month at Barker Mitsubishi in Houma, or shop online at barkermitsubishi.com.
Hello, this is Keith Weissite with this segment of Greenleaf Dispensary, joined by our host, Mr. Omar Picante. Omar, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you for having me again, Mr. Weissite. I'm glad to join you here today.
All right. My partner in crime here, and I don't want to compete with Donald. Now, he's the real partner there. And speaking of, one of the things that you and Donald work really hard at is always trying to find the best products, the newest products, the most available products to help your people who are having issues. Let's talk a little bit about some of those new ones that y'all have.
Yeah, absolutely. We always looking for the best products, the newest products that come on the market, so that first we can be educated by it, so that we can educate our patients. So working in consortium with our manufacturers, we're able to give that good feedback so that we can, be able to address, different ailments that come out from patient feedback. So that's constantly helping us in developing new products for different medical conditions.
Okay. And I think this first one, you always want to go for the gold. So tell us about this gold formula.
Yeah, this is a new product. It's a CBD product over the counter by Louisiana Hemp Extractors. This is another one of the state licensed CBD manufacturers by Louisiana Department of Health and Hospital and Alcohol, Tobacco, and Control. So what they've come out with, the new addition to just CBD is CBG, which is another cannabinoid that's being researched a lot, in which they're the first to market with CBG in combination with CBD. So it provides an enhanced medical benefits for various topical pains. It has a unique healing property.
Okay.
That's what CBG brings to the table. It assists in healing of any type of injuries that superficial injuries that you have. It has that very unique healing properties that patients are definitely benefiting by. So we're very excited as more research are done, different cannabinoids that the cannabis plant produces. We're just kind of scratching the surface on that. So CBG is coming into the limelight, but a lot of people still recognize CBD, but that combination is being very fruitful in terms of satisfying needs in terms of medical conditions.
So it's really interesting, because we talk about CBD all the time, and now CBG is just kind of one of the newer things that y'all have figured out can help, and it's got that duality to CBD and CBG. Right?
Yeah, that's the excitement, and that's why we wanted to bring it into the shop, so that patients, we found it, talked to the manufacturers, they gave us a lot of literature on CBG, so we know we wanted to have that product available to the public. And with that healing property, superficial injury, CBG is the go-to cannabinoid to be able to remedy that situation.
Okay, and is that first one that goes under your tongue? Is that,
so you have the cream for the superficial, and then you have the tincture. So as far as the superficial injuries, it's more of the cream that you apply to the surface of your skin, and it has that definite unique property that is beneficial.
Very cool. Now the second one's a really interesting name, and so I'm really interested in it. I want to hear a little more about this new Welcanna product that's come out. Tell me a little bit about this one.
Alien rock candy, and we're just as surprised as anybody else by the manufacturer's name, as anybody name. We don't make it from the dispensary level; it comes from the manufacturer.
Right, and you have to go by whatever is the company that they sell it and they promote it as.
Yeah, so it's not candy by no means. So we want to make sure that is put out there. It's an RSO, and it's an all that is used in a middle dose inhaler. So these are the name comes from National Strand. So the manufacturer looks upon, what's in the cannabis space nationwide. Okay. And these are just names that are national names that they bring. It just come into Louisiana. Okay. So this is a RSO that can be used in multiple ways. It can be ingested under the tongue. It can be put in food products. It can be used in your middle dose inhaler as a vaporizer. So this is the latest indica dominant strand RSO, in which it's more geared towards nighttime usage. It has similar or very much similar properties as sativa, but because it's indica, that strand leads to relaxation and rest. So this is the strongest RSO on the market because it's 760 milligrams of THC. Okay. So it's definitely used for those patients that have a high level of pain or who have are very familiar with cannabis. Mm-hmm. So talk with the pharmacist or the doctor will lead to that usage of alien rock candy. So patients have come in. We've gotten great response from it. Mm-hmm. The strength has very much been beneficial to that segment of the population who has severe chronic pain. So this is just another tool in the toolbox that's going to be available. And there's a lot more with that to come because the manufacturers are actively building new facilities, adding on capacities. There's new edible products that's going to be coming to the market real soon. So a lot of excitement is building still with what's going on within the industry. So we're just looking forward to the future, definitely.
And again, with